Fox. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
And this is the Fox News Rundown.
Thursday, June 20th, 2024. I'm Lisa Brady. Boeing's ongoing safety concerns have some lawmakers raising questions about the bigger picture.
I think that we have rules, we have laws in place. We just need to enforce them. I do get concerned about the cronyism when you have someone as big as Boeing spending $14 million a year on lobbying Congress. It just creates conflicts of interest.
We speak with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall.
I'm Dave Anthony. Americans are under a lot of financial stress with inflation and high interest rates. So why does the stock market keep setting record highs day after day?
The focus has been all about two letters, AI. In fact, there's been those large capitalization, those big technology companies centered on the AI boom that have really been rallying the entire market.
And I'm Brian Kilmeade. I've got the final word on the Fox News Rundown.
The pressure is building on Boeing and on the Justice Department to handle safety concerns differently.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, the Democrat who chairs the Senate Investigations Subcommittee, describing Boeing at a hearing this week as a once iconic company known for engineering excellence.
That somehow lost its way.
Also attending that hearing, families still grieving, holding photos of loved ones lost in two Boeing crashes that killed more than 300 people in 2018 and 2019. CEO David Calhoun turning to face them before beginning his testimony.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates.
Though one family member told reporters before the hearing that if Calhoun was thinking about the victims every day, the Alaska Airlines accident wouldn't have happened in January. That's when a door panel blew off a 737 MAX jet in mid-flight. That plane was able to land safely, and Calhoun says they took immediate steps in factories and the supply chain to ensure those specific circumstances could never happen again.
Importantly, we went beyond to look comprehensively at our quality and manufacturing systems.
But that incident set off alarm bells that have kept ringing through a string of other incidents, including a tire falling off a United Airlines flight shortly after takeoff, a panel found missing underneath the plane after it landed, and about 50 passengers injured in a sudden mid-air drop blamed on a technical issue during a 787 Dreamliner flight.
Our culture is far from perfect, but we are taking action and we are making progress.
Calhoun, who has already announced he'll step down this year, says the company understands the gravity and is committed to moving forward with transparency and accountability. But just hours before the hearing, the panel released a report with allegations from a new whistleblower, a quality assurance investigator at an assembly plant in Washington state, who accuses the company of hiding non-conforming parts from FAA inspectors. Two other whistleblowers died this year, one after a sudden illness, the other in an apparent suicide. However, lawyers say more current and former workers are considering coming forward with concerns.
I think that they do have what I would call cultural issues that are down to the core.
Kansas Republican Senator Roger Marshall was on the Investigations Subcommittee.
Boeing had a great reputation. Growing up, I lived 30 miles from a big Boeing company, had family, friends there. We wore little buttons that they gave us that said, if it isn't Boeing, we're not going. So they've had obviously two large fatal crashes. Recently, the hinges came off of a door that lost it in mid-flight as well. They've been caught cutting corners. The whistleblowers have been punished. They shouldn't even be considered whistleblowers. They should just be, these are employees who say, here's a safety issue. This isn't something that's safe that we're doing right now. And they bring it to management and they're punished for doing it. So they have some huge cultural issues. And that's what we're trying to say. Look, you are the premier aerospace company here in the nation, in the world. You've got to fix these cultural problems. Americans are demanding it. We deserve to have safe airlines.
These claims that are being made by former and current employees, sound like long-standing problems. How has this not come to light sooner, beyond the software and oversight issues that were raised by the deadly crashes in 2018 and 19?
I think part of it is the FAA, former Boeing employees, are part of FAA now. There's just too much of a cronyism involved with it. There's lots of things going on, but I think that most importantly, what we do understand is with the two crashes that it was absolutely an engineering flaw. Interesting to me as I talk to pilots, though, is that the American trained pilots understood there was a problem. They knew how to deal with it. Most of these people had military experience. They brought it to the attention of Boeing, and they didn't do anything with it. And then some of these less experienced pilots obviously didn't know how to handle it. They're using misfit parts that they know that aren't working, and then are being told to put on the airplanes anyway. So that's where the cultural problem is to me, is when they see a problem and they cut corners. That's what's got to be fixed.
The Boeing CEO says they're taking action, they're making progress, they're working on the safety culture. You were there in the committee room with David Calhoun. Do you believe him, or is there bipartisan skepticism about that?
Well, there's certainly bipartisan concern yet that we are not satisfied, especially in light of these very most recent issues have been raised with using what I call misfit parts that were given to them to be put on airplanes, and the workers know that these aren't right, but Boeing used them anyway. So obviously they've not addressed the problems, and that's why I really think we need some type of an independent consultant to go in there, not connected to the government or Boeing's. They're in bed in so many ways. The DoD contracts that Boeing gets, that's their main income. So I'm almost, concerned about our own federal government's ability to inspect them. So we need somebody independent to go in there and assess their culture. And really, the long story made short to me is they have a good plan, but they're not implementing it properly.
When you say DoD, of course, you mean the Defense Department. Boeing does have contracts with the government, including the military. And on their own website, when you talk about commercial travel, they reference more than 10,000 planes, more than 10,000 of their commercial jetliners in service, with thousands more ordered. Can the airline industry in the U.S. survive without Boeing? Is the government diversified enough in its contracts? I mean, big picture, this seems like an even bigger issue.
I think that's spot on. When there's over regulations, it creates consolidation of the industry. So I know it sounds almost counterintuitive to say that I think we have too many rules and regulations, that we've squeezed smaller companies out. But here's Boeing that we need to put more rules on and more regulations around it. But those would be focused on the safety part of it. The way the Department of Defense contracts are set up is almost impossible for small companies to bid them to get in those projects. So I think we see the problem here. We need more competition for Boeing, but that's easier said than done. And one of the big problems, inhibitors to joining that market, is just so many rules surrounding being able to bid a Department of Defense contract. Even recently, Boeing just received another $200 million contract from the Navy. So here they are with problems on the one hand, but still the federal government rewarding them for this bad behavior.
What about the role of Congress, and where does the FAA Reauthorization Act that was passed this year fit into all of this? Because that was billed as addressing some safety concerns, right?
Right. So, of course, flying is more than just the plane. Certainly, you have to have a sound plane, but we have to be able to control the air traffic ways as well. So, certainly, there was more funding in the FAA for more of the flight controllers, the air traffic controller type of folks, and better, more technology to using more artificial intelligence. But no matter what the plan is that we come up with, we need good people executing that plan. And I think that's where the fear still is on the part of the American people, is that they've lost confidence in Boeing. Boeing has lost their reputation. It's going to be very hard for them to get it back. But I would say I want to give people, some Americans, some confidence. I've been talking to a lot of pilots lately. They have confidence in these Boeing jets. And these seemingly problems that we're talking about are very easily correctable, but they have to be just very consistent. And we're going to have some more safety checks.
Is there more legislation in the works to tighten the reins on the manufacturing process? Or is Congress, limited to oversight in some way because of the FAA's role, for instance?
Yeah. So I'm not aware of any particular new legislation. I think that we have rules, we have laws in place. We just need to enforce them. I do get concerned about the cronyism when you have someone as big as Boeing spending $14 million a year on lobbying Congress. It just creates conflicts of interest. It's become a very small world in the Department of Defense. 3 major companies controlling 90% of the products right now. So I think I go back to, we have the laws in place. We need quality people to do their job perfectly.
Some of the victims' families from the deadly crashes of 2018 and 2019 have sent a letter to the Department of Justice urging that they go ahead and pursue prosecution of at least former Boeing executives. And the Justice Department has already said it thinks Boeing has violated the deferred prosecution agreement that was shielding it from a potential criminal charge over those crashes. Do you agree that they should pursue prosecution?
Well, look, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there sure seems to be a lot of smoke here. I know even in Congress that that Senator Chuck Grassley is leading the charge on that part of this as well. And I would encourage the Justice Department to go, have a full-throated investigation. If they think there's criminal actions, then they need to go right ahead. Certainly, these families deserve justice. It was, what's the word I would use? It was very emotional to see all those people there. All of a sudden, there was faces to those crashes. It did bring it home. It did make a lasting impression on myself as well. Again, Congress writes the laws. The executive branch enforces the laws. The judicial system needs to play its course out as well, and I support them going forward with their investigation.
I know it's a broad question, but if they were to bring criminal charges, what impact could a case like that have, not only on Boeing, which again has so many products, if you will, in place, not only for the commercial airline industry, but for the U.S. government and military as well? What impact could it have on them, but also on the airline industry in general?
Yeah. I think it's going to cause those manufacturers to take a step up, to pay more attention to the manufacturing process and the safety process than they are quarterly or earnings reports. And rather than buying back stocks, all those things, it will have an impact. I guarantee you, if a CEO is sitting there realizing that his negligence could not only be sued for money, but he could also be laying in jail, I think it will have an impact.
And you expect Congress to continue to hold hearings on this issue, continue to kind of press the Boeing CEO to, keep coming back and answer more questions?
Absolutely. I think that they're working on the dates for the next hearing to bring in the appropriate people. I imagine the next group we want to hear from is FAA. I'm not convinced that they're doing their job properly. Why didn't they catch these problems? Why didn't they catch this engineering problem with the Air Max? What happened there? I still have unanswered questions by them. And I want to see what I call it inbreeding, is people from within the industry are all of a sudden running the regulatory part of this as well. So I think the FAA is probably next up.
Kansas Republican Senator Roger Marshall, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Do these 3 words make you cringe? Calcium oxalate stones. If so, then this message will be a huge relief, because now there's a kidney health supplement that has shown in laboratory tests to reduce the rate of calcium oxalate crystal growth by 99%. That's right, 99%. It's called Kidney Cop, Calcium Oxalate Protector, and nothing else comes close to its success. In fact, it has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Kidney Cop is so innovative, it's been awarded 5 U.S. patents, is recommended by doctors and pharmacists, and is winning rave reviews from people all over the country. You can be one of them. Kidney Cop is super affordable. You can purchase affordable Kidney Cop today by visiting Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com. If you cringe when you hear the words calcium oxalate and you worry about reoccurrence, then you need Kidney Cop right away. Purchase Kidney Cop today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com.
These statements have not been reviewed by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Sponsored by Calcium Oxalate. Columbo and Katie.
A busy news cycle and election season in full swing in Missouri. We'll talk to 2 men at the center of all of it Thursday. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft joins us at 2:40 and Attorney General Andrew Bailey at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
St. Louis's #1 choice for conservative talk. This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. Mike Ferguson, Tim Jones, Dan Bongino, Tony Colombo, Vic Borselli, Katie Fitzpatrick, Chris Arce, Ken Williams, Larry Connors, Gabe Pfeiffer, Joe Pags, Randy Tobler, Ben Shapiro. #1 for the most live and local conservative talk. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Still 100% George Soros free.
News Network. Plus, setup couldn't be easier because everything's ready to go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox. In Fox News.
It's the latest when you need it, on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, June 20th, the first day of summer. I'm Ted Lindner. This is the Fox News Rundown. Today marks the official start of summer, the longest day of the year. Fox's Tanya J. Powers with more.
The summer solstice is here. It's known as the first official day of summer because astronomers consider it the beginning of the season in the northern hemisphere, according to NASA. It's also called the longest day of the year. There are still 24 hours, but today will have the most daylight we'll see all year. The Old Farmer's Almanac says the summer solstice is not always on the same day. It currently shifts between June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. This year, the first day of summer is expected to be a scorcher, with heat advisories stretching from Indiana into the northeast U.S.
President Biden now ahead of former President Trump with the latest Fox News general election matchup poll. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal.
For the first time since October, President Biden is ahead of former President Trump in the Fox News poll by 2 points. The president's favored by women, specifically white women with college degrees, urban voters, and those over 65. Former President Trump is favored by men, white men without college degrees, and evangelical voters. Independents favor President Biden by 9 points. Fox pollsters say a shift in how voters feel about the economy may be playing a role. 32% say the economy is in good or fair shape. That is up 15 points.
And the Supreme Court expected to release more decisions on controversial cases. Fox's Kristen Goodwin.
Supreme Court justices could soon rule on whether to preserve a federal law that prohibits people under domestic violence restraining orders from having guns. The case involves a Texas man accused of hitting his girlfriend and threatening to shoot her. Justices also expected to decide whether the Sackler family, which used to control Purdue Pharma, maker of OxyContin, should be immune from future lawsuits linked to the opioid crisis. Purdue Pharma agreeing to pay $6 billion to settle thousands of claims against it. The high court will weigh in on whether that deal is legal. And the court still has yet to rule on former President Trump's claim of immunity from federal election subversion charges after hearing arguments in April.
And I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Thursday night, the Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants are going to play at Brickwood Baseball Park, where the Birmingham Black Barons played. We're going to dedicate Porcelli's Deli to the Negro Leagues, Thursday at 10:25.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurologic component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, here's how insane our political system has become under President Biden. The head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, is publicly warning that a terror attack is very possible. We could be hit with violence at any time, says Wray. But the President of the United States will not address the issue because of his open border policy. Wray believes Biden's failure to enforce immigration law is making it much easier for the terror killers. Now, writing this month in the journal Foreign Affairs, former CIA Assistant Director Mike Morrell and Dean Graham Allison of Harvard illuminate Wray's warning. Here's a quote. The FBI director has also highlighted a specific scrutiny vulnerability. In December, Wray warned the Senate Judiciary Committee that foreign terrorists have the ability to exploit any point of entry, including our southwest border. And indeed, 8 men with ties to ISIS were arrested last week, as you know. They all came across the porous southern border. Have you heard the president address that issue in any meaningful way? You have not. He is putting politics above national security. What say you, George Clooney, and your foolish showbiz pals? Finally, keep a focus on the Olympics in France. Very high-value target. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Hotter days are ahead. We'll start off at 76 Thursday morning, but boy, it warms quickly. 96 for the high, heat index of 99. Partly cloudy, a dry, hot day, and not much wind to take any edge off the heat. Light winds about 4 to 8 miles an hour out of the south. Friday's a hotter day, a high of 99. That would actually tie the record from 1988. Heat index 102 Friday afternoon with partly cloudy skies and dry conditions. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com. For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
I always try to be fair when it comes to assessing the news and what's happening. And earlier this week, you may remember, I said, hey, there's a good idea or a possible good idea coming out of St. Louis City Hall. And that doesn't happen very often. But if there's a good idea or something that is at least worth listening to, I think we should look at it. Well, there's also some really bad ideas coming out of that same City Hall. And one of them is their plan to at least have a pilot program of universal basic income, meaning the government just gives you money because they say you need it. They're going to take taxpayer money from other people and just give it to you. Well, there's a lawsuit now challenging that. I'm going to tell you what that's all about here in just a little bit later on. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks, as always, for making News Talk STL part of your day. Some news that's happening in the Kansas City area could affect us right here in St. Louis. You probably heard by now the state of Kansas wants to lure the Royals and the Chiefs out of the Missouri side of their border and into Kansas. Well, the debate over that is using a lot of the arguments that we hear in St. Louis from time to time from, people who want a new football stadium. Remember that they wanted one along the river to keep or attract an NFL team. Every once in a while say, well, we need possibly a new hockey arena for the Blues a little bit later on, or, maybe the Cardinals saying they're going to need some help with the upgrades of Busch Stadium. But it's the same sort of argument. And Patrick Touhey from the Show Me Institute kind of picked that apart for us on Wednesday's program. Here's what he had to say.
What is it that the Kansas legislature is at least proposing now or working on proposing? And secondly, you and your counterparts from the Kansas Policy Institute actually working together, basically saying, hey, knock it off. This isn't good for that region. And I know a lot of people will say, well, why is somebody from Kansas opposing trying to attract these major league teams over to Kansas? But it's on principle.
Yeah, it is on principle. And good morning. Basically, what happened in April 2, as your listeners will remember, is that Jackson County rejected a sales tax to fund Chiefs Stadium and a Royals new stadium downtown. And in the intervening months, Kansas has been working to come up with a package to lure them across state line to Kansas. Now, Kansas subsidies work different than Missouri subsidies. The biggest subsidy that Kansas offers is STAR bond, sales tax and revenue. And basically a municipality issues the STAR bond, but it looks very similar to what happens in other places. It vacuums up all the taxes generated by a particular location and returns those to pay off the bondholders. We don't really know much more about that. The reporting out of the Kansas City Star says that the package would cover 70% of construction. That still leaves quite a bit left over for the Chiefs and Royals to pitch in, more than I think they were willing to pitch in when we were talking to them in Missouri. And then the biggest exposure for the taxpayers of Kansas is that if the site does not generate enough money to reimburse the bondholders, what happens? Proponents of the legislation say, well, then bondholders just take the loss. But that's not credible. What has happened, certainly in Missouri, and what could happen in Kansas is that there is so much pressure to bail out the bondholders because the state doesn't want to either get a bad credit rating or it doesn't want future STAR bonds to be for people to be hesitant to buy them. So again, it's kind of murky where we're going, but basically, to sum it up, Kansas has entered the chat, and this is exactly what any team would want: two suitors, and so the prices have just gone up like an auction.
Morning, Patrick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So one idea I have heard floated is that any of these tax abatements that are usually in response to whatever presumed economic activity is going to come from these things would be delayed until the stadium owner or whoever the owners could prove that they actually did produce that sort of economic activity. Basically, instead of the money up front for a presumed outcome, you get the outcome first, and it has to be proven, and then you get the tax benefit later on. Have you heard anything like that show up anywhere actually in the country?
That's kind of like what the entertainment film tax credit is on the Missouri side, they claim that you have to show the benefits and then give them the receipts, which is, we already got rid of that program once and then they brought it back this year. But anyway, Patrick, yeah, that any update or any similarities there?
If these were two negotiations between private companies who are using their own money, that is exactly what I would expect. But that is not the case here. These are people spending tax dollars. They have no interest in complicating the issue. And because it's political, and we saw this in Kansas City a few months ago, and again, you've seen it in St. Louis as well, anytime you try to hold a hard line negotiating with a sports team, they immediately go to the fans. They're like, oh, you're trying to chase us out. We're going to go to Nashville. So it's not likely that a state or a municipality will ever be able to craft a kind of hard-nosed good deal with a team because of the nature of politics. But if, again, as you described, these were two private interests spending their own money, we would absolutely get better deals. But that's just not the case here. So I don't expect it would be great if we demonstrated or forced recipients of subsidies to demonstrate in a meaningful way their economic benefit. I just can't imagine it ever happening.
You mentioned the use of fan pressure to sort of create a political movement behind these sorts of things. Is there any advocate for the average taxpayer in the conversation at all?
Well, there doesn't seem to be in the legislature itself, the Kansas legislature. Now, I read the Star story this morning, and there were a few people who were skeptical. But what they probably think is, we're not committing to anything just yet. Right now, we're just putting forth a proposal. So really, there's no risk. But again, if people care to read the research, there is no economic benefit. You're just giving a bunch of money to very wealthy team owners. You don't get anything for it. But having the stadium, people see it. It wasn't there before. It's there now. They think that means something. They think all that commerce means something when the numbers tell us really nothing is happening.
Yeah, that voice you're hearing is Patrick Touhey from the Show Me Institute. And that's what I wanted to follow up with, Patrick, is people will say, well, what are you talking about? Of course, it's economic development. Look at this. There's a stadium that was built. Look at all those people who are working there. They weren't in Kansas in this case before. Look at this. They're selling a lot of beer. Look at all these jerseys. Now the sales tax is going to Wyandotte County in the state of Kansas. Look at what Missouri lost. It's a big, you have to compete for it. I mean, it's a very easy emotional sell on the top line level. It's when you get into, what the Heartland Institute found years and years ago, what you at the Show Me Institute have found, what, all these others have found. How do we message that to say, because nobody wants to lose a team. It's not even just economics. It's part of your community pride. And so they say how you can't let them go. You can't let the Chiefs go. They're the world champions. You can't let the, the Royals go. They were champions a decade ago. We can't, you can't let them go. That's a part of us. How dare you? Don't be the politician who lets them go. And it's more of an emotional pitch than it is an economic pitch in a lot of ways.
Well, no, that's exactly right. They don't want to make the economic pitch because the economics just aren't on their side. Now, around the country, Tempe, Arizona rejected the deal. Of course, Jackson County did. The legislature in Virginia rejected the deal to bring the Washington teams across their border. So I think social media, the slow education of people over time. I think in Jackson County's case, frankly, the Chiefs and Royals ran such an awful campaign that, to be very honest, it's the yes side lost it more than the no side won it. But it takes the slow education of people over time to understand that the crowds they are seeing, one, are not new spending. It's just different spending. Those people would have been at a movie theater or, playing mini golf or something like that. And that all those taxes that are generated at the site go back to the owners to pay for the stadium, or the bondholders in Kansas's case, to pay for the stadium. There is no net benefit. But again, whether it comes to economic development downtown or entertainment districts, or TIF projects along the floodplain there, it does take some time to explain to people that, there are costs to these things. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Good morning, Patrick. Stalpontikas here. It seems as though there's been an undercurrent just a bit from folks who are familiar with those stadiums in Kansas City that maybe they're too old. And a lot of folks say, hey, these stadiums are still pretty nice. We had a listener on Rumble comment about how old is old when you've got Wrigley Field and Fenway Park.
Yeah.
And yet in other cities like Baltimore, where Camden Yards were built, Yeah, I can see where a new field is perfectly fine. But Kansas City seems to be okay. What are your thoughts regarding making?
It's a nice stadium.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch a game there.
Indeed.
And Kauffman Stadium, the Royal Stadium in Kansas City, is always rated, 12th to 14th best in the country. Look, team owners will use any argument to win. That's really it. If they think that the local population will buy the concrete cancer argument, they will use it. If they think that the local population will buy the, economic development or we're going to leave, they will use any argument they think will win. From their point of view, this is a business negotiation. They absolutely want more people fighting over them. They absolutely will make any argument they can, no matter how credible, to get more money out of taxpayers' pockets. And this is nothing new. We've seen this for decades now in the United States. It's up to the population in each place, or the legislature or the legislative body, to be more thoughtful. But if you negotiate from a position of fear, they're gonna win every time.
Is it too simplistic, Patrick, to say, well, what we're talking about is welfare for billionaires to build their field where millionaires are going to play? I mean, that's
play a game.
Yeah. I mean, is that too simplistic of an argument as to why this is a ludicrous idea? I mean, listen, if a billionaire wants to build a $800-900 million stadium and they want to pay for it themselves, have at it, man. If you move across the state line, good for you. If that's what you want, that's the free market. But when we're talking about this and government getting involved and playing each side against each other, like you're saying, which is exactly what's happening, can we boil it down to something as simplistic as to saying corporate welfare for billionaires to build their stadium so they can house millionaires playing a game?
Yes, that is exactly what it is. There is no public return for this investment of public dollars. And I don't know if there's a word worse than welfare, but these people aren't using it for food and shelter, right? They're not using it for rent and bus fare. They're using it for even more luxuries. So if welfare just gives people the staples, even if they might abuse the system, these subsidies are even more shallow than welfare, because we are just making wealthy people even more fantastically wealthy. And you're aware of the research that says the more subsidies you give a stadium, it doesn't affect the average family's experience. All that money goes into gold plating the VIP boxes and providing a nicer experience for the super wealthy. So this is, it's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't believe it if it weren't for the fact that it happens so often.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time that a team that actually privately owned its own stadium moved in the country.
Well, that's something that we've got to learn, because I understand that SAR bonds in Kansas cannot be used for public property. So the teams would be required to own whatever stadia they build in Kansas, and that is different than in Missouri.
Oh, okay.
They may still get a tax abatement, but as we have learned, team owners do not want to own the stadium, because that just becomes an albatross when they want to pick up and move.
Yeah, and so they would, the way you describe that is that, whatever economic activity, they collect all the taxes, but then they just basically get a refund check. So taxpayers are paying them back to build their own stadium, which it turns out they would own in the first place. So it's publicly funding the stadium by another name.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And the kick in the teeth is that such a stadium incurs additional costs like public infrastructure and public safety, and of course, the teams aren't paying taxes that go to that. Those costs come from other people's taxes. So it's kind of a double. Not only are they getting something for free, but you've got to pay for all the excess costs.
The first morning news dump of the day comes your way here in just a little bit over 2 minutes, right after this information segment here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, News, analysis, opinion.
I said from the very start that this was an abomination.
The things he said are off the wall.
These are sick, evil people.
He's about him. I'm about the country.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Severs JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Severs JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit seversjcb.com.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at classickicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love the station.
90s new country streaming now. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Kira Davis, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they get all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, a lawsuit is filed in hopes of stopping a free money scheme the St. Louis City has in place.
Free money in the city?
Free money.
Okay.
Basically, it's a socialist program, and there's a lawsuit trying to stop it.
Golly, I shouldn't have moved out.
Nope. You could have been getting, well, no, you could not get it. I'll tell you why here in just a couple of minutes here.
Okay.
The White House doubles down on their claim that all those videos of President Biden being, confused are fakes. I don't know. Or did they make that claim? Maybe that's the deep fake.
Ooh, hadn't thought of that.
Or maybe I didn't just say what I said. Maybe that's the cheap fake. The whole world's gone crazy. All right. And the Cardinals are featured in a national broadcast from an historic field for tonight's game. This is going to be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. A lawsuit is filed in an effort to stop St. Louis City's cash giveaway. It's known as the Guaranteed Basic Income Program. It's kind of a pilot program. The group that filed the lawsuit is called the Holy Joe Society, which says that the program violates both the Missouri Constitution and the city charter. The Guaranteed Basic Income Program uses $52 million of federal COVID-era money to give about 440 families a free $500 per month check. Just give it to them. Program was signed into law in late 2022. Basically, people had to meet income requirements and have children in the St. Louis Public School District. And that's why you, my friend Stell, would not be allowed to be a part of the program because you don't have children in the St. Louis public school system.
Rats.
Yep. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford going after the White House's new immigration policy that allows non-citizens, aka illegal immigrants, who have been in the U.S. for at least 10 years and are married to a U.S. citizen, along with whoever their children are, to seek a permanent resident status and eventually be given citizenship. He was on the Faulkner Focus on Fox.
The Biden administration is also directly violating the law, and they know it. That's why they're doing it right before the election, is they want to make this an election issue. And they also know the courts are going to throw this out because the law clearly states you can't do parole on someone currently in the country. They have to be outside the country.
The program also tries to make a path to citizenship easier for some other illegal immigrants as well. Let's see here. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre doubling down on her claim that videos of President Biden being confused and walking the wrong direction and trying to, shake hands with people who aren't there and everything that we've seen, that those are just cheap fakes. Congressman Ronnie Jackson, he's a Republican out of Texas, was on Hannity last night on Fox to react.
This is a sad, desperate attempt to spin the reality of what's actually happening here and to try to get the American people to stop asking the question that they're asking now is what's wrong with this man, right?
All right. The press secretary made those remarks in response to videos of the president just kind of drifting away from a group of world leaders at a D-Day anniversary event, and also another one of him being led off stage by former President Barack Obama at a fundraising event. We're supposed to just assume that those aren't real, apparently.
Yeah, I need to check my glasses.
Something like that.
I'm just not seeing things right.
Very, very strange. All right. The Cardinals end up losing their series to the Marlins in Florida yesterday. Final score was 4-3. Nolan Arenado, I don't know what his status is. He got hit with a pitch right in the elbow.
Yeah, I heard that.
Had to be taken out of the game. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. Ooh, yeah, not good. Nolan Gorman had a home run. The Redbirds play the Giants on historic Rickwood Field tonight. That is a nationally featured game. You can watch it on Fox. First pitch is at 6:15, and they had just put up the plaque of Willie Mays at that field. He was going to be honored tonight. Then, of course, passes away on Tuesday.
I'm sure they'll still have some great festivities.
Probably even a little more meaningful now that he's gone and we've lost, one of the greatest ever.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. The 10 Commandments are heading to Louisiana schools. Keith Peters reports.
Louisiana has become the first state to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom. Republican Governor Jeff Landry signed the bill mandating the display on Wednesday. The GOP drafted legislation mandates that a poster-sized display of the Ten Commandments in large, easily readable font be required in all public classrooms from kindergarten to state-funded universities. Proponents say the purpose of the measure is not solely religious, but that it has historical significance. Classrooms must display the Ten Commandments by the start of 2025. Keith Peters reporting.
Parts of Texas are getting pounded with rain from Tropical Storm Alberto. It's the first named storm of the hurricane season. Meanwhile, rain is falling in New Mexico, where fire crews have been battling a wildfire. Authorities say the blazes have killed at least 2 people and damaged more than 1,400 structures. And more high temperatures are in store today from the southwest to the northeast as the heat wave continues. Russia's Vladimir Putin is visiting Vietnam, where he's signing a series of new deals.
Putin received a welcoming ceremony at Hanoi's presidential palace as he arrived in Vietnam for a state visit. The Russian president was greeted by Vietnamese President Tô Lam. In Hanoi, the Russian leader is scheduled to meet the Communist Party General Secretary, Vietnam's most powerful politician. The visit comes as Moscow is seeking to bolster ties in Asia to offset growing international isolation over its military actions in Ukraine. The trip has resulted in a sharp rebuke from the U.S. Embassy in the country. I'm Karen Shamas.
Recreational boaters found $1 million worth of cocaine floating in the ocean off the Florida Keys this week. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Listen, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text trade to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies. A sticky evening, too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. Hit the links in style this season with News Talk STL's brand new golf polo and hat collection. Available exclusively at Sugar Creek Golf Course, located off Highway 30 in High Ridge. Our lightweight, moisture-wicking polos feature the News Talk STL logo, keeping you looking sharp and feeling comfortable all 18 holes. And don't forget the matching News Talk STL hats to keep the sun out of your eyes while you line up that winning putt. Get your News Talk STL gear today at Sugar Creek Golf Course off Highway 30 in High Ridge.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Bob.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, is it gaslighting or maybe the whole cheap fakes are actually coming from the White House?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that angle yet.
I mean, essentially what our political discourse has come down to is, I know you are, but what am I?
Yes. Okay.
We have entered the Pee Wee Herman phase of political discourse in America. Yeah.
I know you are, but what am I?
Well, in other words, nothing makes sense anymore. And maybe the confusion is part of the tactic.
I'm rubber, you're glue.
But we need to be careful here. We're going to put together enough stuff for an actual class at some college level on how to talk politics, because that's where we are at this point.
Yes, it's very true.
All right. Just how demented are some of these climate cult protesters? They sink to a new low this week. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to tell you about it at 6:20. And if I'm just going to tell you right now that if you're going to try to make sense of what they're doing or what they did, it ain't happening.
You can't.
Yeah.
No.
All right. 6:06 here. All right. Real quick here. Now we've got the White House. We played this clip the other day from Karine Jean-Pierre saying, these are cheap fake videos.
Cheap fakes.
So she invented a term, cheap fake, which
I had never heard.
Never heard the term.
I had never heard. Now, look, I'm pretty internet savvy too. So the fact that this term was created pretty much, as best I could tell, whole cloth at the podium there, and then went on to show up in news clips, and be defined by the press.
Right.
That says a lot about the coordination, I think, between the White House and the press.
Exactly. So as near as I can tell, the idea of cheap fake, the KJP kind of put out there, is basically arguing that the videos are taking things out of context and not showing the real story.
Right.
That's what she's arguing.
Yes.
Like, for instance, she talked about the D-Day demonstration with the guy who was the parachuter, and Joe Biden just sort of drifted off and walked the other way. And then I don't know who the lady was, went up and kind of touched him like, hey, over here, Joe, over here, Joe, here's the guy doing the thing over here.
And then the entire group rallied around him. They moved.
They literally changed, which my guess, just being a media guy, is somebody was behind the camera, like waving, go.
Yes, he's like, we're trying to keep everybody in the shot.
The lady was the Italian prime minister.
And Justin Maloney. Trudeau was in there, and you know,
right.
and so then the media says, okay, well, the cheap fake is that some media outlets say he just wandered off, but as you can see, what was really happening is he was talking with somebody involved, but what happened was he literally wandered off from the guy who did the parachute thing,
who was right in front
of him, and then he just drifted away. And the thing is that you don't even see a confused look on his face. There's just a blank. There's nothing there.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, he was just kind of, and the thing is, the clip starts as they are applauding the guy right there in front of them in the foreground.
Right.
So everyone in the group's attention is straight ahead. He turns to his left and then wanders away. He's a good 4 or 5 people away.
Yeah.
Before he's corralled, stopped from wandering basically by the Italian PM, and then everybody else just kind of rallies around him, probably like you said, in the direction of the cameraman to keep everybody in the shot, which was the purpose of being out there.
Somewhere Dobie Gray is thinking, hey, how about my song Drift Away? You could be using that. Okay, Dobie, we'll do that.
Yes.
And the thing is, the idea that he's talking to some other person involved in the thing doesn't, that additional context doesn't change the fact that he's doing something weird. We all recognize that it was weird.
And here's the thing is that you've got media now who is in a position to, do we actually report what's happening, or do we run interference? And the same way that we were shown that you can't trust so-called fact checkers on social media, the actual legacy media, the mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, we're already seeing signs of them going, well, okay, here's what happened. And they're literally going to be trying to run interference. Listen, anybody as you age, I mean, I'm only in my 50s. I still have the thing where I walk in, I'm like, why did I come into this room? I mean, we all have something on that, but not at this level. And I don't have the nuclear codes.
Yeah.
There. So, this is a true matter of leadership capability. Is he capable of doing before you get into all the issues? And when you've got media sort of stepping in, like CBS, they did like a 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, well, the cheap fakes are, here's what we got to watch for. There's a lot of these out there.
Let's describe what a cheap fake is. What's funny too is when you listen to the definition that they gave, and I watched that entire package. Actually, I watched it twice just to make sure that I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
Or
did you?
Or did I? They were basically talking about, like you said, just taking things out of context, clipping things to remove information, slowing things down to make people, or speeding them up, or basically the simple manipulations that anybody can do from their desktop. And that's why they call them cheap fakes as opposed to the deep fake, which uses a more advanced technology. And they were simply describing things that they had done forever to Republicans and conservatives through the media. So they were really just telling on themselves. It's very much in the Vic Porcelli, everything they say the opposite is true sort of way. Because I remember some of their cheap fakes, like one of them being the good people on both sides. Remember that whole idea?
Charlottesville,
the Charlottesville thing with President Trump, him talking about protesters as opposed to Nazis, but that was used, not only just used by the media to smear Trump, but used by Joe Biden during the campaign and post the campaign to continue to smear Trump and anybody who supports him, anybody on the right.
They still use it.
Racist.
I still hear it today.
It keeps showing up. And that's the thing. They've been doing the cheap fakes forever.
The weird thing is, it's not like Trump didn't give them enough material they could use accurately.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's so there's stuff out there, but that's particular dimming. I mean, basically what you've got is, it doesn't have to be accurate, like you just said. You just have to say it enough times to get people to believe you, or at least question the other side.
Right.
So for instance, if somebody who's a supporter of Donald Trump hears the, good people on both sides, like the white nationalists, and they go, no, that's not what he said.
Right.
Oh, whatever. We heard it ourselves.
Right.
That's where this comes in, because we may say this is low level intellect. I mean, this is clearly, but the fact of the matter is, when it's done on a mass scale, eventually you say it enough and it's not challenged, or you challenge it and the so-called fact, it sticks. And at least even if somebody knows, like, I don't know if that's right or not, it's enough doubt in people's mind to affect things.
And if they jump on it first, it's like the newspaper days. If it's on the front page, okay, oh, wait a minute, there was a retraction. We got the story fixed. And we put that information on page 19 at the bottom, and really small
a week later.
A week later.
I used to have, I still have a rule. If I get something wrong on the air, whether it's my fault or whether I used, a resource and they got it wrong, whatever it is, where I try to figure out, when did I say it wrong? And then when I go to correct it, I try to do it as close to that time as possible.
Right. So you're getting the same audience.
So as much of the same audience as possible, because that's integrity, or at least I try to have it. I fail sometimes, but I try to. And so that's something that what we're going to see is more coordinated, just like we did with the social media and the suppressing of the stories. And if you challenge a narrative, you get blocked. You're going to see that same mindset from this sort of media elite.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Do I have time to tell us a quick story here? So,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talk about a long way home. A St. Louis soldier is finally going to be buried at Jefferson Barracks after about 80 years. Okay, get this.
Whoa.
I saw this on Missouri Net this morning. Staff Sergeant Woodrow Gerds of St. Louis was a soldier in World War II. He was part of the U.S. Army's 28th Infantry Division, which dealt with, heavy combat, apparently, with German forces in 1944. Specifically, according to the story, they fought at the Battle of Hürtgen Forest in Western Germany. So we're talking about taking it to the Germans in Germany in World War II. Staff Sergeant Gerdes went missing in action in November of 1944. His remains were found in 1947 in a foxhole, although they didn't know who he was at that point. He was buried in Belgium in 1949 after his remains went unidentified. Well, in 2018, those remains were disinterred for DNA testing, and for some reason, it took a long time. And just July of last year, did they come to the conclusion that those remains were of St. Louis's Staff Sergeant Woodrow Curtis. So his remains have been brought back to the United States, and he's going to be buried on July 1st at Jefferson Barracks in obviously St. Louis County here. And so they're making the changes to the different list of MIA in the country from World War II. So on July 1st, a St. Louis soldier who gave everything is finally going to be buried back home after 80 years. I don't have any information on whether or not there's a ceremony. There may not. I mean, if he was killed in action over there, there's a chance he didn't have a wife, didn't have any kids. Obviously the rest of his family would probably be gone at this point. So what you have is a soldier from right here who is going to at least have a proper burial and proper recognition.
And they'll
on
still
July
have
1st.
The military.
They will. Yes.
Part of it.
They will still have all of that.
All the honors.
I have all the honors. There may not be anybody there to see it, but at least finally we're getting the right thing done. I mean, and this isn't likely anybody's fault.
Sure.
It just took a long time to figure out who these remains belong to. So finally, it's going to be finally the story is going to come to a close on July 1st at Jefferson Barracks.
It's been a long road. I think it's been a long road for a lot of people too. There's still so many MIAs that there are bodies out there that have never been identified and may still never be.
Right. I mean, you think about he apparently was killed in 1944, and it was 2018 before they confirmed, or just last year rather. Excuse me. The DNA testing was 2018. He was just confirmed his identity last year, which means his entire family went the rest of their lives not knowing what happened to him. Yeah.
And yesterday we had the discussions about Juneteenth. You guys know that there are Confederates buried at Jefferson Barracks. Confederate soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. There's some of those also at cemeteries in like Warrensburg and some other areas around the state as well. Yeah, exactly. All right, 314-912-1019. The climate cult strikes again. This is so, I mean, it's just demented thinking at this point.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. I'll tell you what happened at 620.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
You want to take the place of what I trust.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The false impressions, well, baby, they will last forever. Stop it right now! I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference.
Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Rock bottom prices. Take a look at boomshackfireworks.com. Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Plus 15% off everything through June 23rd. Boomshackfireworks.com.
Are you concerned about the future of America, the economy, the courts, threats to our freedoms? Tim Jones here. Join News Talk STL for Saving America 2024, June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. Hear from renowned experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation as they analyze the critical issues facing our nation and provide insight into securing America's prosperity. Secure your tickets now at newstalkstl.com before they sell out.
Brought to you by West and Mid-Rivers News Magazines and the St. Louis Young Republicans.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking to Ashley Hayek, Executive Director of America First Works.
When you have the domestic abuse and drug and murder scandals and rape and, abusing animals, all of that happening within the NFL, it's really hard for them to have a leg to stand on to try and take down Harrison when he's speaking about pro-family, pro-faith values.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
Down around the corner, half a mile from here, see them both ain't run, and watch them disappear.
You know, it's one thing to be gullible, dumb enough maybe to buy into the climate cult nonsense.
Yeah.
It's another to assume that you've got the right to destroy things in the name of protest, things that aren't yours.
Yeah.
These dumb butts sunk to a whole new level of low this week. I'll tell you about that here in just a second. All right, a lawsuit challenges a socialist program that's running in the city. We're going to tell you about that at 6:35. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. We have laughed at the climate cultists. We've gotten angry with them, but their latest stunt just goes beyond the point of my being able to understand their point. I mean, it's these just stop oil nonsense.
Do they really have a point, though?
No, they don't. They don't. This is, at this point, if you're part of the just stop oil thing and you're doing these things where your entire mission in life is to do something to harm somebody else's life, whether you are standing in the middle of a street, gluing yourself to the counter at the coffee shop, or whatever you're doing, this is mental illness.
See, when they were doing the stuff inside art museums, I thought it was stopping oil paintings.
Right.
I didn't realize
just stop oil paintings.
Yeah.
They thought petroleum products were used in the creation of the Mona Lisa.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they started to throw soup at it.
What was it that they threw? Was it the Mona Lisa they tried to throw? It was the Mona Lisa,
I believe so.
And
Yeah.
they have, of course, they have a big
Protective glass. Yeah.
protective thing.
Thank
on
goodness.
There are a couple other, really priceless works of art also that were defaced. I think sometimes they take a hammer to that protective glass and things like that. Yeah, all kinds of things.
Yeah. So, and I don't understand the mindset that says I'm so committed to my cause that nothing else matters. Nobody has a right to anything. I own everything, essentially. And we see this uniquely in these environmental radical nutcases and climate cultists. But here's a little bit of audio. So Stell, we'll play this for, 10 seconds or so. And then if you could just kind of lower it, we can keep it going, but I'll tell you what's happening here. This happened in the UK yesterday at Stonehenge. Yeah. And so what's happened is some of these just stop oil nutcases have this orange spray paint, and they run up and they're spraying the Stonehenge structures.
Now I heard they said something on Twitter that this was like corn flour or some colored corn flowers. It's like, hey, it's not bad for the environment. It's not an aerosol. They're trying to play the whole virtuous thing, even in the method of their protest.
Right. So basically their spray paint looks like fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
Sort of and they're spraying this bright orange paint all over this 5,000 year old structure here. And Just Stop Oil said on Twitter, to what you just said, the orange corn flour we used will soon wash away with the rain, but the urgent need for effective government action to mitigate the catastrophic consequences of the climate and ecological crisis will not. Okay, but here's the thing, though. Stonehenge actually replied. They actually quote tweeted. They said Stonehenge is protected by the Ancient Monuments Act, and it is a criminal offense to damage the stones. There are also multiple rare lichen species growing on the stones that are also protected. Expect a prison sentence.
Well, as Gabe would say,
elected.
Yeah, Gabe would say, go get him.
Yeah,
go get him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go get him.
Jail.
Yeah.
Right to jail immediately.
There were community notes as well. It says lichen covers and protects the stones of Stonehenge. Damage to the lichen will mean that the stones are less protected from pollution in the environment. and contact with the stones is limited to protect them. So here's the thing: only one little old woman ran up there and was trying to stop him physically. Just one.
Yeah,
that was it.
Now I think I saw a guy kind of run into frame briefly to kind of help her with the first guy. But when she went back for the second guy, her helper disappeared. I was just it's like, why are we leaving it to one little old lady to protect a national monument essentially in the UK? What's wrong with you, UK?
And especially a monument that today, because it's a summer solstice, everybody's going to be focusing on Stonehenge and everything going on. You would have thought the officials over there would have had some guards close by.
Maybe somebody just to monitor because of all the people around.
These were some of the same. This is some of the same group that ran out on the congressional baseball game field, and law enforcement, tried to and tackled some of them pretty quickly here. So this isn't activism. This is violent mental illness at this point. Let me explain why I used the word violent. Okay, if you are forcing, like for instance, when you stop traffic, you decide that nobody's allowed to go anywhere. That is not nonviolent.
Right.
Okay. So when these people are known for, slow walking or stopping traffic in European cities, the same way the Black Lives Matter, has done over the last several years, where we're going to take over whose streets, our streets, or we're going to try to block the highway. And then if you get hit by a car or run over, they're taking pictures of your license plate. They're going to try to dox you. They want to threaten you. They want you to feel unsafe. And so when they go into a private business, and we've seen coffee shops, and we've seen restaurants, and we've seen car dealerships, we've seen all these, and they decide they're going to glue themselves to that. That's not nonviolent.
Right.
Okay. That's not civil disobedience nonviolent. That's not going to the counter at the diner and sitting there quietly until you're
escorted out.
Escorted out. That's not what that is. This is violent because it violates your, in this case right now, the Stonehenge is, I'm assuming, a public entity over there. I don't know, but they don't own it. And they've decided that they'll damage something that's not theirs because they have feelings and want to say something. And basically it's whatever I want to say overrides your right or your property or taxpayers' property, whatever it is over there. I've never been to Stonehenge. I'd probably never go see it. But pattern of this mindset that says, I'm so angry about this thing that nobody else has the right to live their life the way they want to. I have the right to take over, at least for a moment. That is an authoritarian mental illness. It means you should never listen to what they have to say. But here's the other question. Last couple minutes we've got, and I'll toss this one out there. One of the things that these idiots count on, and that the Black Lives Matter groups counted on, is that nobody would physically stand up to them. Nobody would stop them. No.
Right.
And so those rare cases where somebody just runs out and grabs them by the collar and yanks them off, there's like some leftists like, I can't believe you would enact violence.
Oh, yeah, so indignant.
Protest. Should we have more confrontations and people physically standing up to them? I mean, I'm not going to say go out there, swinging and attack them. But I'm saying is, should they be met with force?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I was almost gonna half jokingly say that if you see somebody with a climate crisis or a Stop Oil T-shirt, that you might want to be preemptive.
Right.
Now that's a joke,
right?
But in the grand scheme of things, all they do, like you said, all of their protests are styled in such a way that they are necessarily violent. They are necessarily an imposition on others and their rights, and it's not they aren't actually looking for your agreement with them. They're not looking for you to join their cause. They're looking for you to bow your head in compliance.
Yeah.
That's a fascistic way of thinking. And on top of that, they're anti-humanists. When you really get down to the way they look at the world, the way they see, climate and human flourishing and the things that are necessary for human flourishing, they hate it. They hate it all, which is why they go after art, which is why they go after historical monuments, which is why they try to disrupt your life. They actually hate humans.
Yep.
And really, if you dovetail the different parts together, you have BLM and then the folks who are supporting them saying, hey, let's defund the police. Well, who would be able to stop some of the stuff that's going on? Well, the police would. So let's get rid of the police so that we can continue doing and increase all these actions that we're involved in that are totally antithetical to what society is all about. We'll just defund the police, get the authorities out of there, and we'll just run roughshod over everybody.
You could also throw in the recent pro-Hamas protest.
I was just about to say that. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. The what are you, Free Palestine or
Right.
the Ceasefire Now people? All of them kind of have the same MO.
Yeah.
And they are definitely fellow travelers in the way they operate.
Yeah, and it is a reflection on the hard left's anti-freedom mindset, anti-human rights mindset. And so when you see this, and the Stonehenge thing is just completely stupid. Listen, Stonehenge it's not my thing.
No, it's
whatever.
It's a thing.
It's a cool 5,000-year-old historical thing. People who are pagan have a big thing. We don't know why it's there. But it is what it is. I mean, if I were in the area, I'd go see it, but I probably will never be in the area.
And nobody really pays attention to it except
on the solstice
the
days.
two solstice
Right,
days.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. Whoever built it may have. I mean, that could have been their like ancient comedy club for all we know. I don't know. We have no idea what it was built for.
Yeah,
but I mean, there are theories.
Their own funny bone.
I'm just saying exactly. Their own funny stone. But the idea that, what's yours is not yours.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard this, like, remember there was back in the 90s and early 2000s, there were a bunch of environmental activists that would go set fires to car dealerships.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And part of their thinking is you don't have property rights.
Mm-hmm.
Our activism, we believe this is the greater good. So therefore you will, like you said, submit
Mm-hmm.
to what we want. And if that means we will take your rights, even for a moment, then we win.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time, and there will be next time, that the protesters decide to block up intersections, say you're not allowed to be here, you must go around. That's force. That is not nonviolent. I would argue that is even violating your rights, and that is violent
Mm-hmm.
protest
Yes.
that is accepted by the left in
Mhm.
this country.
And I think you have a right to respond with violence to when people try to take away your rights.
Yeah,
So
precisely.
make of that what you will.
Oh, yeah. All right. Speaking of socialism, there is a socialist program up and running in the city of St. Louis, which we told you about when they signed it into law a while back. Well, now there's a lawsuit trying to stop it. So I'll give you the update on what's happening with that just ahead here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies, a sticky evening too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. And getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality, American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At STLFenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
Hey, Columbo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means things like family gatherings, barbecues, and graduation parties, and Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your friends and family, so they're kicking off summer with an amazing offer. Book a cleaning in June and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
What has Biden done now to plunge us into World War III? Steve Bucci at 425 to discuss. At 525, Michael Reagan, son of Ronald Reagan, peace through strength.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
If I could find assurance to leave you behind.
All right, let's see here. Socialism is terrible. It's an evil idea. Do we all agree on that in this room here?
Yes.
Okay, because I know that there's a lot of people who disagree.
Not even a good idea, badly executed. It's just evil.
It's just a bad idea.
Just a bad idea from day one.
St. Louis City has a socialism pilot program up and running, and now there's a lawsuit trying to stop that.
Okay.
Saw this several news outlets yesterday. Interesting. 6:35 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stella here. By the way, Flashback Friday tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
man, this one snuck up on us. I don't know why. It's like it's been a long week, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's Thursday.
Right.
Tomorrow's Flashback Friday.
Seriously.
So get your 80s bump music request in for this week. Got to get it in today.
The pressure's on.
If you want it to be considered. All right. So send us a note on social media or just email Stel or me, STEL or MIKE at newstalkstl.com. All right. So you remember us talking about the Guaranteed Basic Income Program. Now, we told you about this like a year and a half ago. It was signed into law in late 2022 by Mayor Jones. And so what it does is if you meet certain income requirements in the city and you specifically have children in the St. Louis public school system, then you could apply to get $500 a month, just free, a check from the city. Here you go. So we're going to subsidize your income to the tune of $6,000 a year.
Here's your money for existing.
Right. Here it is. Just it's a universal basic income. They call it Guaranteed Basic Income pilot program. And it's interesting because, people who support it say that, well, you have a right to these things. So therefore, if you have a right to these things, then government should be providing these things. And in this case, they're just paying you. And the city said, we're going to study to see whether these particular families, there's like 440 families that are getting the handout at taxpayer expense. They're going to say, we're going to see if this, if their personal finances are any better after this. Well, send me $500 for free too. Guess what? My finances are going to be better.
My personal finances.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing's like, what's the metric? How are they measuring how good their personal finances are going to be after the extra 500? Because here's the thing, a lot of people, when they get money for free, if they already are not financially stable and capable, they spend it on just stuff,
right,
as opposed to advancing their current financial position. And
I think Dire Straits saying about that.
For nothing.
money for nothing. Exactly, money for nothing.
But for $500 a month, you ain't getting your chicks for free.
No.
Not for $500.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
And if you are, you don't want it.
But it's the it's the lottery winner conundrum, right? It's like people winning millions of dollars, going straight from poverty to multimillionaire status, and they're right back where they started a couple years later. It's kind of the same thing. I can't imagine this is going to rank as any sort of success on a reasonable metric.
The idea behind, in this case, they call it Guaranteed Basic Income, but the idea behind universal basic income is a socialist one.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is dependent upon the government. These are the certain level of needs. Those must be collectively met. If you have a right to housing, then you must, then somebody has a responsibility to provide for it. That's socialist thinking. Okay. Anytime there are positive rights and negative rights. Okay.
Yes.
Just real quick. I know I've done that primer before. A negative right means I have a right to be alive right now.
Right.
So that means that imposes on Stel and Gabe the negative right, the negative responsibility to not kill me.
Right.
So that's what that's required of you is that you don't do something. That's what a negative right means. If somebody says you have a right to health care, then that imposes on everybody else what's called a positive right, meaning you must do something, you must pay for it and provide it.
Right.
So that's the difference.
Some third party is going to reach into my pocket in order to
correct
to create the right that you have.
Right, because if somebody breaks into your house or hacks into your bank account, that's theft and burglary.
They did something to do that.
They did something to do that. But if a government decides to tax you for it and give it to somebody else, somehow that's not theft.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy.
I'm starting to sound like the libertarian.
Yeah. Here's another thing that bugs me about it. You mentioned that you have to have kids in the school system.
Yes.
Does that set off a red flag for you? Because it does for me. Okay, we're giving you money. Those aren't your kids. Those are our kids.
Absolutely. And that's actually part of the lawsuit that you brought that up. This group called the Holy Joe Society, which is named after St. Louis Circuit Attorney and former Missouri Governor Joseph Holy Joe Wingate Folk, who I don't know anything about. But it looks like it's some conservative attorneys and I mean, there's some big names in this Holy Joe group, including Beavis Shock, who sues the city a lot and wins a lot. Beavis is, if you ever get a chance to hang out with Beavis, do it. I got to know him when I was a communications director over at the Show Me Institute, and he was on their board. I don't know if he's still there. Dude's a character. Dude is just whip neck. I mean, smart, like you wouldn't believe, is great. So if he's involved in this, there's a lot of merit to it. So they're arguing that the Guaranteed Basic Income Program violates the Missouri Constitution, where in the Constitution it says no county, city, or other political corporation or subdivision of the state shall be authorized to lend its credit or grant public money or property to any private individual, association, or corporation. Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
They're also arguing that the requirement that to be eligible for the program, you must have children in the city public school system is also discriminatory as well.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, and it goes right along with the, the bad idea of it, right? It's like, hey, you must already be part of our government indoctrination system. You homeschooler, we're not going to provide any basic income for you.
Right.
So put your kids in public school, and maybe we'll give you a few bucks to rent out your kid every day.
Yeah,
basically.
See, but I think where you were going with that, Stell, is accurate. Is all of this is designed to push people into dependency, and with dependency becomes control.
Yep.
Now, the only thing that I'm disappointed in this thing was signed into law in 2022. Why are we just now getting a lawsuit middle of 2024?
Seriously.
But hey, you know what? The group I don't even think existed then. Likely the judge has already said in the case that's ordered the city to respond by the end of next month, or the end of this month. Actually, they have to give some sort of response, and then they'll decide where to go from there. And then they go through all the procedural stuff. But there is a good chance that this gets shut down. And then what's going to happen is local media is going to they're going to mysteriously find some of these 440 families, and we're going to get the sob stories. And those mean, evil lawyers who are conservatives, they ripped this income out. That's the difference between us being able to make our bills and not make. And so you're going to hear the crying, I can't believe you stopped this socialist program, you big old meanies, you.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the same as what they always do for the minimum wage increases, right?
Right.
You find some sob story situations like, oh, I could really use that extra, $2 an hour. That would really change my situation, and blah, blah, blah. And, me and my 3 kids, we're trying to live on this McDonald's, income. It's like, well, first of all, but let's not get into that. We always end up in these situations where they try to weaponize your compassion in order to get you to sign on to things that are inherently evil.
Yeah, or just bad ideas, even with good intentions. I mean, Missouri voters are going to be voting on a minimum wage increase.
Yeah,
this year. The unions very quietly, and the other left-wing activists very quietly gathered the signature kind of under the radar, and it looks like they have the signatures. Well, the last time that was put before Missouri voters, they approved it.
Yeah,
it's made it harder to compete. That's one of the reasons that Tennessee's doing better than we are. And believe it or not, Tennessee is a border state, just a little border, but there's a little bit there. But weaponizing the compassion is the right way to do it, because people somehow think, well, if I outsource it to government, then it's compassion, and it's not.
No, it's you described it before. The difference between theft and government compassion is simply one step. Instead of me taking from you in order to help, quote unquote, help somebody, I'm getting government to stand in the way, and I'm hiring them to be my muscle
The thing is that you're
shakedown.
also hiring them with everybody else's money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're already taking other people's money to exist.
Yeah.
and then I tell them, hey, while you're at it, why don't you go shake down these guys and give and pass that money around to all my friends.
So I don't know what's going to happen with the lawsuit. This is with the COVID ARPA money, which is what we see. You've seen how much that we're seeing of government saying, well, let's put ARPA money to it. What's happening is all of this money, they're sitting around, they have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
There's so much of it there. None of this has anything to do with COVID. This is part of the blue state, blue city bailout. And frankly, some red state stuff too, because Missouri lawmakers are saying we've got revenue or record spending and we've got all this money sitting here, but a lot of that is federal money that's going to dry up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what happens when you've created the dependency, because the idea is once you start spending it, you can't take it away from people, and people are inherently becoming dependent on government, which means that if they're dependent, you can't take it away. We're going to have to increase the extraction of money from other people, which is by definition freaking socialism.
Why isn't the default to spend ARPA money only on infrastructure? Like why? Because those are the big one-time costs. They always want to issue a new bond, requests and things like that. But, well, we have a big pot of money now. We basically a bond. Yeah. It's just we don't have to pay it back. So why don't we use that for infrastructure? As many potholes have destroyed my tires in the last few years. Fix the freaking roads,
because that doesn't create more dependence on government.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Righty Right put it really well on Rumble. That is some expensive compassion.
Yes, absolutely.
Very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's dump some news on you here at about 6:49. And then 7:05, Riley Gaines is coming to Missouri.
Oh, awesome.
You might have to drive a little bit, but we'll tell you where and when if you wanted to meet her. That's coming up at 7:05 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Better half would fade, and all my doubts.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Up and out of this maze.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The first step is the one you believe in. The second one might be profound. I follow you the storm. Don't worry, I'll keep you warm.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Never had a doubt in the beginning, never a doubt.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, a new Illinois law says, hey, kids, you need to relax. We're going to make you relax. Relax right now. Come on, relax so you can learn better. Relax.
Oh, my God.
I said, relax.
We're relaxing right now. Aren't you relaxed?
7:05. We're going to do that.
All right. Sounds like one of our staff meetings.
That's right.
There you go.
Unless we have it in Joe's office. That's where all the booze is.
Yeah. That would be relaxing.
Jeff, one of our bosses, has a like a distribution
Little
thing where you
dispenser
turn a
thing.
dispenser thing and you turn a dial and you get like peanuts.
Right.
And then he's got another one where you get these like pretzel,
the peanut butter filled pretzel bites.
You
Yep.
go to
Mhm.
Joe's office and it's bourbon and whiskey.
Yeah.
And everything else on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that they're different. Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is if you put a table out front, you basically have a bar with the little bowl of snacks.
And Larry Connors would be there all the time.
Larry Connors would be there all the time.
Larry contributed to Joe's staff.
Yeah, exactly.
In his office.
That's true.
All right. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford kind of criticizing the White House's new, let's call it an immigration policy, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
This is where an illegal immigrant who's managed to be in the country illegally for at least 10 years, married a U.S. citizen, gets to have a permanent residency and then eventually is going to get citizenship under the new Biden plan, under the new Biden executive order. Senator Lankford was on Fox News yesterday, and he was on the Faulkner Focus talking about that.
The Biden administration is also directly violating the law, and they know it. That's why they're doing it right before the election, is they want to make this an election issue, and they also know the courts are going to throw this out because the law clearly states you can't do parole on someone currently in the country. They have to be outside the country.
The program also makes a path to citizenship easier for some other illegal immigrants as well. Now, here's what's interesting is you heard Senator Lankford saying they want to make this an election issue,
Mhm.
which I guess that could be possible, but it's unbelievably unpopular around the country. So it's a stupid thing for the left to make an election issue unless it will be challenged successfully. And then they can go say, look at this guy. He's been in this country for 10 years. This is his 6-year-old daughter. These Republicans want to rip this father away from them. That's the only angle I could think of, which my answer is, well, yeah, that's his fault. That's not our fault. That's his fault.
I'm not sure that even that angle would pull the necessary middle of the road people who are seeing the absolute destruction that's being wrought on the country by illegal immigration. So that to me only leaves the idea of registering all of these illegals and getting them to vote in the upcoming election.
See, and here's the thing. If you've been in this country for 10 years, you've had 10 years to make it right. You've had 10 years to fix it. You've had 10 years to respect our nation enough to comply with our laws. Don't come to me with a sob story that you could be deported after 10 years, even if you've got a wife and kids at this point. That's on you.
Absolutely.
That is your fault.
Yeah, as the husband of an immigrant, I take great umbrage at the idea that the many years and thousands of dollars that we spent to get her to be a naturalized citizen is just kind of blown away for these people who managed to. If you manage to make it across the Rio Grande, here are your papers. Happy trails, buddy. Right. Go directly to the naturalization office. That's absolute garbage. And serious question for lawyers there. If they do this kind of bullcrap, do I have a case to make against the government? Can all of us legal immigrants and family of legal immigrants sue the government for that mistreatment?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Let me know. Gabe at newstalkstl.com.
All right, it's taken almost 80 years, but a soldier from St. Louis who gave the ultimate sacrifice will finally be laid to rest at home. Staff Sergeant Woodrow Gertis went missing in action after heavy combat against the Germans in 1944. His remains were found in a foxhole 3 years later. And then in 1949, his still unidentified remains were buried in Belgium. In 2018, DNA testing was done, and the results, for whatever reason, finally came back in last year, confirming the identity of Sergeant Gertis's body. He will be formally buried at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery on July 1st here in the St. Louis region.
Well, I'm glad that story actually has some closure now.
Right. And with he probably, a young kid at the time, who knows how old he was. I don't know. So there's a good chance that there is no family. Yeah. So July 1st, I don't know if there's a ceremony or if there will just be the burial with honors, but at least that's going to happen. Okay. The chairman of the Illinois Republican Party is calling it quits. Don Tracy issued his resignation on Wednesday, saying there's too much infighting in the party. Tracy has been chair since 2021. He is going to remain on the job until his replacement is chosen next month. Okay, I think around 7:20 or so, guys. We know about the infighting on the Missouri side within the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So apparently it's happening on the Illinois side with the Republicans. Why is it in the Republican Party or the conservative movement in general, which are not always the same thing? Where is that infighting coming from? There are some who say this is inherently bad. I'm going to make an argument that some tension is good because we're supposed to be fighting, and I'm talking this from the freedom conservative movement aspect of it, not as much from the party, that we should be pushing for the principles of the whole thing. And there are others who say all we care about is winning. So we'll get around the principles if we can, but principles don't do you any good if we don't win.
Right.
I don't know that that's completely correct. So let's talk about that around 7:20, but Illinois chairman stepping aside because of whatever's happening. Listen, in Illinois, the Republicans don't have enough power or leverage to change very much as it is. So I wonder what this says. So we'll talk about that in, 20 minutes or so, something like that.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. The Cardinals end up losing their series to the Marlins in Florida yesterday. Final score was 4-3. They managed to do this game in only 9 innings, which is the first time in the series that they finished a game in regulation because the other 2 went extra innings. So the Marlins win that series 2-1. Nolan Arenado had to be taken out of the game when he got hit by a pitch right in the elbow. So I don't know what his status is for today. We'll find out a little bit later on.
I'm guessing that's going to hurt this morning when he wakes up.
Oh, yeah. If you get hit on the elbow,
ouch.
I am telling you, I've been hit there. It hurts and hurts bad. Nolan Gorman had a home run in the game. Redbirds play the Giants on historic Rickwood Field tonight. This is a nationally featured game. You can watch this on Fox. First pitch is at 6:15. It's a historic setting. It's the oldest operating baseball field or stadium in the country, and for a long time was a Negro Leagues field. It's a minor league field now. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
In Birmingham, Alabama.
Exactly, against the San Francisco Giants.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at newstalkstl.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Tropical weather is bringing rain and flooding to the Gulf Coast.
Tropical storm Alberto, the first named storm of the season, is rumbling toward northeast Mexico, carrying heavy rains to a drought-stricken region, but also the threat of mudslides at higher elevations. The National Hurricane Center discontinued its tropical storm warning in Texas, but it remains in effect south of the mouth of the Rio Grande to Tecolutla, Mexico. In Corpus Christi, Texas, water lapped at the base of the city's art museum, and in Galveston, residents were waiting to check on flooded cars.
About 2 feet deep here.
Storm surge and swells were affecting the western Gulf Coast. Sustained winds of 50 miles an hour are expected to dissipate as Alberto heads inland. I'm Jennifer King.
It's shaping up to be another day of excessive heat in the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. More than a dozen states are under heat advisories as this week's heat wave has set new temperature records. Also, there's still no declared winner in a Virginia GOP primary race involving conservative Congressman Bob Good.
After a bitter primary battle with rival John McGuire in South Central Virginia's 5th Congressional District, the vote count showed an exceedingly tight result Tuesday night, far closer than many expected. With each update to the results, Good and McGuire traded leads that at times were as low as in the single digits. McGuire, a Virginia state senator, was widely seen as having the upper hand leading into Election Day. But the electorate was clearly split, and by 9:30 p.m., it was the only congressional race in the state left to call. With a small lead of just a few hundred votes, McGuire prematurely declared victory in a speech at his election party in Lynchburg shortly before midnight. Good thanked his supporters on X and noted that not all votes had yet been counted. The final results could take weeks to determine. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Louisiana's governor has signed a bill that requires the posting of the 10 Commandments in all state classrooms starting next year. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Will you just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hi, I'm Kevin Costner. I'm proud to introduce my new theatrical epic, Horizon, an American saga. There was a promise in America. If you're strong enough, if you're tough enough, you can make what's out there yours. It was not a fair place, but people aspired to be great. I think Horizon is all about that.
Horizon, an American saga. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies. A sticky evening, too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Relax, kid. Now.
Okay.
The law demands it. Or something like that. Also, Riley Gaines coming to the Show Me State. I'm going to tell you about that. If you have any interest in seeing what that's all about, maybe even meeting her, we'll tell you about that here in just a minute. 7:05 right now. No, I'm sorry. Check that. That's not right. 7:06 right now.
Okay.
Because I got the clock.
Accuracy.
Yes, right. Got to Gabe here and still here. I'm Mike Ferguson.
We focus on accuracy.
That's right.
Indeed.
Don't forget, next week, coming up on Tuesday, News Talk STL teaming up with the Heritage Foundation for Saving America 2024, The Economy and the Courts. Joel Griffith and Zach Smith, who are actually going to be in studio with us on Tuesday before that event. They are going to be there at the St. Charles Funny Bone. That is in the streets of St. Charles, Tuesday, June 25th. This is a free event. It's going to be a great discussion, back and forth. You got questions for Heritage's experts. And you say, man, who's Zach Smith? I know. Yeah, you've seen him on Fox News. You've seen him on Newsmax. You've seen him on all the TV places. But we'd love to have you there. It is free, but you got to have a ticket. So newstalkstl.com is where you will get your ticket. All right. After all that, we need to relax. And the law says that if you're a school kid, you got to relax in Illinois. You must
relax.
Something like that. And we're joined now by Darrell Jones from the the Herzog Foundation. And Darrell, so what is this? In Illinois, they've got a law that's mandating relaxation. Government mandated relaxation seems like a whole new level of oxymoronic, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. Apparently, that is the biggest issue regarding education today. And another 20 minutes a week of yoga is gonna help kids read better, and their math scores are going to go up. And the monkeys are running the zoo, fellas. It's just absolutely the craziest thing. Yeah, it's Illinois mandate. The governor's getting ready to sign the bill, and obviously it's reached some opposition. What are we doing here? Illinois had just mandated 30 minutes of recess, mandated. This is coming down from the legislation, mandated 30 minutes of recess, and now we've got another 20 minutes of yoga, and the kids just need to relax more. Meanwhile, test scores in reading, test scores in mathematics, not just in Illinois, but nationwide, but certainly including Illinois, continue to just plummet. And people ask me, why are so many people leaving the public school system? This is the kind of stuff that parents are saying, you've got to be kidding me. I want my kid to be able to read and to be able to write and to be able to do math and to be prepared, to live their life without me. And we've got, just nonsense that seems to be the focus of the day.
Yeah, I mean, little Jimmy can't read, but he can do the baby cobra pose. So you mentioned the yoga. I mean, what is it that once the governor signs this, which it appears that he's going to sign it, so what is 20 minutes of what is it that the schools are going to have to do, and what's the argument for this? I mean, you mentioned yoga. Is it actually incorporating yoga, or will it be just whatever the schools decide?
that seems to be the talking point of what the legislation is trying to produce. That they're requiring 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week of relaxation, intentional relaxation, in addition to the 30 minutes of recess. And that's where opponents are saying, how is this going to make a difference in preparing our kids, number one? But the other thing is, even looking at the spiritual foundation of yoga. I mean, like it or not, yoga is the foundation of it is found in Buddhism and Hinduism. And so there was, pushback that, hey, what are we doing and what are we requiring our kids to be involved in? And the opposition then says, well, we make them say the Pledge of Allegiance, which honestly was news to me. I was thrilled to hear that the kids are saying the Pledge of Allegiance, that notices, that recognizes a nation under God. And so they're saying, well, we're already involving them in spiritual practice. Well, I think I don't know that that's apples and apples, but the governor is expected to sign the legislation.
I'm just pointing out that I don't know if retroactively my sleeping through some classes in Illinois would have counted as relaxation time. But anyway.
Good morning, Darrell. Gabe Pfeiffer here. Playing devil's advocate here, because there is an argument to be made that the stress that kids are under is a little different these days, and certainly physical activity is something that especially young children need in order to properly develop. But obviously there are other problems, I think, with the Illinois system that this is not actually going to address.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, nobody's questioning whether or not kids need a break, whether or not kids need time away, whether or not kids need relaxation. But the question is, when the foundational responsibility of an education system is failing in its key indicators and components, this is a secondary or a tertiary issue, to reading and mathematics, where the scores are obviously something's broken here. And is this 20-minute mandate a week? It's going to take time away from real class time, where kids can be learning and practicing reading and the subjects of the day.
I don't know if there's any truth to the rumor that the mandated scalp massage bill is working its way through committee right now. All right, we're visiting.
I don't either, but I've never say never.
Right, especially not in Illinois. All right, let's look at some national issues. We're visiting with Darrell Jones from the Herzog Foundation. Title IX, the administration's effort to redefine basically everything about biology and men and women, that took a hit this week from the courts. And so I don't, obviously this is a horrible ideology that the administration is trying to push. But does this give us some hope that we could permanently beat back this just horrible anti-woman stance that the administration and so many on the far left are taking?
I'll tell you, Mike, I think that is exactly the right word. There's hope. Obviously Friday, the court ruled, now hold on, there's litigation going on and nothing's going to be active. I mean, the Biden administration has been pushing that, August 1st, all schools receiving federal dollars need to comply with the redefining of sex to include self-identification rather than, the 50-year standing of biology. And so, when the court, when an appellate court said, hold on, there's litigation going on, nothing happens, pause everything until litigation stops, it gives hope for a reason to come into the system to continue women's sports. And that's what we were, you referenced it. Thank you for that. Riley Gaines will be at the Herzog Foundation in Kansas City, July 24th. Free tickets. Anyone can come, promoting her new book, Swimming Against the Current. Good title. But she has really been such a cheerleader and face for saving women's sports. So we're anxious to hear from her, personally, with her experiences in competing against, Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer.
So, Darrell, how are schools responding to the current mandate coming out? of the White House as far as the Title IX compliance? Are there schools who are already on board and they've jumped on these things, and then of course there are the schools that aren't prepared and won't be prepared when this stuff. What are you seeing in your area?
Well, sure, it's like American politics. I mean, obviously there are 20 states and 20 attorneys general who have filed suit against the administration, saying, wait a minute, you're redefining sex in a way that, number one, is going to get people hurt. Number two, it's taking away the right of women to compete against other women. And so 20 of 50 states have filed, suit against the administration, which means, apparently 30 states are just fine with this. So it's an interesting day we're living in.
Well, and let's put this into context. For instance, we know my wife is a university professor, and the university she works for is in Chicago, Concordia University of Chicago. This is a very conservative university by statement, by design. They have a very traditional view, very conservative view of human sexuality and of gender. There are no LGBT student groups on campus. They don't play that game, but they're also a very military friendly university. And so when you look at the Biden administration saying anybody who gets federal funds, they're not just talking about Pell Grants or student loans. That could be the GI Bill money as well, that would say, oh, well, if you still want these students, well, then you have to make these changes. And then at that point, I am confident that where my wife works would say, we're not doing that, even if it would mean the end of their university, which, Darrell, I'm not so sure is not part of the plan.
Well, you've hit on it. There's a conspiracy theory out there that, my goodness, at this point, I've said before, we've been lied to so much by so many. We don't believe anything from anyone anymore. And, you can't rule that out, that there's just an agenda here to rid the nation of a conservative voice. And I do believe, unfortunately, that any school, college or K-12 that is receiving federal dollars should be very concerned. And frankly, parents who are sending their students to state-funded, to federally funded institutions really need to be concerned with this new mandate that at least has a stay of execution at this point. But it'll be interesting to see what goes forward.
Good morning, Darrell. Stalpontikas here. You mentioned about Riley Gaines and her new book. I know we're not next door to you, but if the book signing event that's coming up is on a weekend, could you give us some specific details regarding where it is or anything like that?
Right, July 24th in Kansas City. We have our own facility, the Herzog Foundation, which is a beautiful facility. Why can't we broadcast live from the Herzog Foundation?
Amen, brother.
I will tell you, we can.
Yeah,
we can do that.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, talk to us.
Gosh, would that be fun?
Yes, let's do it. I'm in.
Let's do it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll talk to my people. You talk to
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make this. And we need a mandate that this is
a mandate.
But we're doing it here in Kansas City, here in the Smithville area. We have a wonderful facility, and we'll be able to seat between 300 and 500 people at this event. It's an off-site event, but it's a beautiful venue, and we would love to have people come. There are free tickets. There's no admission charge. We just want to get the word out. July 24th at 6:00 p.m. That's when the reception starts, the book signing starts. I mean, you're going to have great access to Riley, and then to have an opportunity to hear her speak. And she has a message. I mean, you talk about faces on conservative media channels. She has been very outspoken and obviously taken a lot of hits because of it, but really standing for, wait a minute, what are we doing to women's sports? And as a father of 3 daughters, this is a very real concern moving forward.
Is there any chance you guys might do a live feed of that event, either on your website or online?
Yeah, we haven't done live feeds, but we have been able to make them available after the fact.
Oh, good.
And so I'm sure that that's something that we could pull off as well.
All right, so you can find out more at herzogfoundation.com. The 24th is a Wednesday, but still, if you feel passionately about this, or you know what, you've got a young woman who Riley Gaines is fighting for. And if you've got a girl or a young woman, Riley Gaines is fighting for her. This might be worth a trip to Kansas City to see that. So HerzogFoundation.com.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly right.
Darrell, great to chat with you once again. Of course, we were talking about some of these stories which you've covered in readlion.com as well. I get the newsletter from you all as well. I encourage everybody else to sign up for it. And then the next big thing is the 24th, Riley Gaines in Missouri swimming against the current. All right, Darrell, great to chat with you again. Let's do it again in another week or so.
Always great talking to you guys. HerzogFoundation.com.
And relax, Darrell. Relax.
Yes. I said relax.
I'm gonna
relax.
I'm gonna do it right out. I'm gonna do it right
Okay.
after I finish my mathematics course.
There you go.
God bless you guys.
He's doing the warrior pose right now.
Yeah, thanks, Darrell.
All right, just ahead here. Okay, so in Illinois, we've got the chairman of the Republican Party quitting. We know about the tensions and the conflicts on the Missouri side in the Republican Party. So what is it about people on the right not being able to get along with each other?
I have some guesses.
I want to hear them at 722 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
I see your indifference.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Oh, hey. You wanna do that? Get up. Can't you hear the alarm? Get up. This is your cousin.
News, analysis, opinion.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. The sense that he hadn't shown up for debate.
We have long been saying President Trump is ready to do this.
Make my day, pal.
Here's what he's saying to Israel. Let me run the war for you. Here's my advice to Israel. Don't.
This trial is more about our politics than it does about our alleged crime.
This is nothing more than election interference at its finest.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1
for conservative talk. News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com.
Let me tell you a story of, I don't know, a few months back or so. My buddy Pedro and I met up for lunch. Pedro owns a property that he bought to rent it out. So it's an investment property that he and his wife have. And we're sitting there having lunch. And he goes, man, I had to replace a bunch of windows in it. And he goes, man, that was expensive, but you got to do it. And I said, well, where'd you do? Where'd you get your windows? And he goes, well, I just went down to it was one of the home improvement stores and went, oh man, you should have called me, Pedro, because I would have told you to go to Window World. You can give Window World a call at 314-993-1800. By the way, Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. And I told him, I said, you would have saved some money. I said, you would have had them custom made for your house that you just bought, and you would have had that lifetime warranty, because you know what, let's be honest, with renters, you never know what's going to happen. But in this case right here, if something were to happen with those windows and it's within the parameters of that warranty, which covers pretty much everything, they replace it. They take care of it, whether it's parts, whether it's glass breakage, whether it's labor. They stand behind these double strength glass windows. And my buddy was just like, I wish I'd known. I said, well, next time you need to give him a call. 314-993-1800. That would have saved you money right up front. Would have saved you money down the road as well, because that lifetime warranty is transferable to somebody else. And that's a really good selling point for your home. In addition to whatever else your home has to offer, you've got a lifetime warranty on those windows, and they are more energy efficient as well. Window World has put windows in over 70,000 homes in St. Louis over the last 20 years. They stand behind their product. They stand behind their service. And let me tell you something. These are really good people. If you want to see some of the videos that I've made with my friends at Window World, just go to News Talk STL social media. You're going to find them, especially our Rumble page. They're on there about a minute or so each. We're talking American made, custom made, double strength glass, exceeding the Energy Star current standard. So it's going to be more energy efficient. And now they are offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Give them a call. No pressure visit, in-home estimate they're going to give you. They're just simply going to tell you what they can offer you, answer your questions, and then they know that you need time to make the right decision for yourself. And so they're going to leave you alone. You got any questions? Give them a call. 314-993-1800. 7 days a week, other than major holidays, somebody is in that office in St. Louis, right here in Earth City. Window World is the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. Find out what they can do for you, because they are, like I said before, simply the best for less. Tell them that Mike was talking about him, and you will have some questions. You like to get that estimate, or just want to ask a couple questions of them. 314-993-1800.
Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Rock bottom prices. Take a look at boomshackfireworks.com. Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Plus 15% off everything through June 23rd. Boomshackfireworks.com.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we give them shorter hours. We start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstam. Yeah. And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Did it again, just like yesterday. Computer froze up. All right, sorry. There you go.
I think that there might have been a cuss word that crossed Stell's mind just now. I'm not going to accuse him of it because he doesn't cuss.
Man.
But I think the one may have gone through there.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Hey, all right. That's a replacement song, isn't it?
It is a replacement.
Jeez, what's going on with the system?
Oh man.
I really do think there's an AI in there just screwing with us.
Could be,
because it knows we're putting out the real thing that's going to save humanity, and it's like, no, I want humanity to decline.
No, so George Soros, you can't have this radio station too. You're going to have to be content with the other one.
Down with Soros bots.
All right, 7:26 right now. All right, I saw this news, and normally you'd say, oh, okay, that's interesting, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The chair of the Illinois State Republican Party has resigned, and he says, elect somebody else. As soon as you elect somebody else, I'm out. He'd like to have this done within about 3 weeks or so. Of course, we know about the divide on the Missouri side in the Republican Party, and also the conservative movement in general, because as much as I hate to say it, the Republican Party and the conservative movement are not always the same thing.
Sure.
There's overlap, but they're not always the same thing.
It's a Venn diagram.
By the way, Planned Parenthood takes a loss in Missouri court. Their argument, just because we would have broken the law doesn't mean we actually did. I'll explain at 7:35. This is really interesting here. Okay, so the GOP divide, not just for Missourians anymore. When the chair of the Illinois Republican Party announces he's stepping down, he says it's because of infighting within the party. Okay, so you know where this tends to go.
Mm-hmm.
Probably similar to what's happening on the Missouri side. In Missouri, you've got the establishment versus the Freedom Caucus, and then conservatives tend to be caught in the middle because there are some really good conservatives who are not members of the Freedom Caucus for whatever reason. And so the Freedom Caucus has areas where they're very popular. They've got areas around Missouri where they're not very popular. And you've got this establishment versus, conservative freedom movement type of thing. Well, Illinois, I think you've got some of that as well. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but it brought up, the other part of saying there are people who say the point is the party needs to win. And we got to do whatever it takes to win. If we have to compromise on principles or not address some things, all that matters is that we win, and then maybe we can deal with the principles.
Mm-hmm.
Other people who say, no, the reason we're involved in politics and policy is because of the principles. And we're not going to compromise those just to get a win.
Right.
But then the counter is, but if we don't win, then you can't do anything about your principles. Well,
Right.
not necessarily. You can affect them in the minority as well. But like, for instance, I had a conversation with somebody, I don't know, a few weeks back. I said, what if the Missouri Republicans lose a few spots in the legislature? They still have a majority.
Sure.
They still have maybe not a super majority, just kind of a close to super majority,
standard majority.
but they get slapped a little bit by voters. Missouri Republicans were most effective in overriding Governor Nixon when they did not have that massive supermajority, when they were on the way to it.
Right.
But they stuck together for conservative principles, and they were far more effective. Now you have the luxury of knowing that you've got the majority for the foreseeable future. And so it's splitting off into factions, and it's an establishment pragmatist, I would argue, a little more big government type versus the conservative freedom movement. And there's a divide there. And we've seen that in other states.
Yeah. And my question always ends up, well, why not a principled conservative pragmatism? Like, why can't we balance that properly?
Right.
Where, I mean, every situation is going to call for a slightly different version of it, but ultimately the idea is we want solid conservative principles, and we need to agree on those. Those are the things we argue about behind closed doors or in our party meetings and things like that. And then when it comes time to put up candidates to get votes, then unity is the name of the game.
What if the candidate isn't a principled conservative, is not part of a freedom or constitutional mindset? What if you have a Republican who is just not principled in conservatives, but they're better than the other one? Do you support them? Do you sit it out? What do you do? Because I'm going to be honest, I struggle with that.
Yeah. And it's one of those rough things, because you would hope that in the early stages, in the vetting, in the rise of particular candidates, in the all of those things, that's where you would do the most vetting. You would do the most emphasis, the highest emphasis on finding a conservative who is truly conservative. But that's, I think, where we're probably falling down, and we end up with, well, this is the only person who showed up, essentially, and we get what we get. And then we end up with this situation where, well, they're not a Democrat, but they're kind of a Democrat light with an R.
Right.
Do we want the seat? Do we want the that vote to go the way that to get the R, or is it better if we just let it slip?
And there are a lot of people who say, well, it's better than the D. But let me tell you something. What happens is, if those are people who say, you know what, I don't like them, they don't meet my standards, but at least they're not a Democrat, that's how you get Caleb Rowden.
Yeah.
That's how you get Caleb Rowden running the legislative aspect of Republicans in the state of Missouri.
Right.
That's how you get people like that, who derailed initiative petition reform, who if we end up having abortion access enshrined in Missouri's constitution with a barely 50% plus one vote,
that's
or
on
51, that's blood on Caleb Rowden's hands.
Absolutely.
But it's also part of saying, well, we'll just settle for better than not as bad as the other one. I mean, that's what that thinking gets you. And I can't get that out of my mind, which is why I've decided that I've got some standards. I mean, somebody's at least got to be trying to be part of the freedom movement or the conservative movement. Because if they're not, then I am not going to feel bad not voting for them.
Well, another question I have, though, is if it's just about making sure that you get enough R's in the seats, right? Okay, this is our conservative, quote unquote, conservative majority, our Republican majority in the House, because we have this many seats. Shouldn't the people who are on the fringes of the conservative movement, who do still have an R and they get in their seats, shouldn't they be left on the outskirts of leadership? It wouldn't. How does the Caleb Rowden? I mean, I can see from a pragmatic sort of view why a Caleb Rowden would get into the legislature. I don't understand how he gets into the leadership of the legislature.
Exactly. And then when every Republican says, well, that's just the system, there's nothing we can do about it, that I don't buy it.
I don't
believe you.
Yeah.
I just don't. All right.
There's something they're not telling us.
Yeah. 314-912-1019. Just ahead, Planned Parenthood takes a loss in court. I'll tell you what that's all about. Attorney General Andrew Bailey picks up the win. We'll tell you what's next here on 119 94.1 News Talk STL.
You think you're gonna take her away with your money and your cocaine. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies, a sticky evening too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
John Beal knows that new roofing companies can look big and trustworthy on the internet, but the fact is 96% of new roofing companies go out of business within the first 5 years. John Beal has a reputation for excellence, reliability, plus lowest cost, best roof, best guarantee. Those here today, gone tomorrow roofers, they can't match John Beal. For home or business, trust my friend John. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Here we are, June 20, a little more than 4 months from Election Day, November 5. And there's a lot of concern about what's happening in the Biden camp. And some of those who have access to the inner circle are feeling cut out. One of them, a strategist telling Axios publication, it's unclear to many of us watching whether the president and his core team realize how dire the situation is right now, and do they even have a plan to fix it? Another said, advisors feel pressured not to speak up in meetings, especially if some of Biden's most trusted and longest-serving aides are in the meeting. The 2024 election race still moving forward, Biden continuing to poll low with multiple demographic groups. So here we have the election coming closer and closer. And such disarray, it kind of reminds me of remarks of a popular humorist back in the 1920s, Will Rogers. And he always talked often about politics. And one point he made, I think, applies to today's Democrats. Will Rogers stated, I'm not a member of any organized political party. That's why I'm a Democrat.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app. Love the News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime,
everywhere,
anywhere.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
They tried to help a child get an abortion, but they say, hey, no harm, no foul, right?
Excuse me?
Oh, yeah. That's overly simplistic, but that really is kind of the argument Planned Parenthood is making in Missouri right now. All right, 7:38 right now. By the way, we've got our app, streaming app. Be sure to download that. Check it out. You can also get our streaming audio anywhere, newstalkstl.com, desktop, laptop, you name it. You can take us anywhere you want and just plug us into Bluetooth here. Okay, you probably heard about this Project Veritas video that was in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think, yeah.
So what happened is a guy went in and made up a story and saying, hey, I've got this, I think it was he made up the story of a 12 or 13-year-old niece. Her parents are going to kill her if they find out she's pregnant. I need to get her an abortion. Well, abortions are illegal in Missouri, but the personnel there at the Planned Parenthood office in Kansas City said, he made up a story about a 13-year-old niece. Said, okay, listen, we get this their words every day. You go to Kansas, it's legal over there, and they were encouraging him to go over there. So I saw this on this update on the Missouri Independent, which is a left-leaning outlet.
Right.
It was written by their reproductive health reporter. That's actually her title.
Yeah.
So what's happened is Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, after seeing the Project Veritas video, is suing Planned Parenthood and taking legal action against them, demanding a bunch of information, everything, accusing them of essentially transporting or otherwise helping minors get out-of-state abortions, which is illegal.
You can't do that.
Missouri.
Yeah.
And so that lawsuit, based on that conversation that was recorded by the Project Veritas undercover sting operation between that staff and a man who made up that story. Well, Planned Parenthood says, well, there wasn't actually a real person, so we didn't actually. You can't point to a single person that could have gotten an abortion because that guy made it up. It was all hypothetical. We didn't break any laws because it wasn't a real person. So they're tacitly admitting, Gabe, that if there really were a 13-year-old girl who was pregnant, that they were recommending and helping her connect with their across the border abortion butchery. That person would have gone to get that abortion. But since the guy just made it up, he doesn't actually exist. Therefore, we didn't commit any crime. You need less off the hook. And they asked the judge to dismiss the case. And what happened this week is the judge said, no, this lawsuit, this legal action can move forward.
Yeah. You can't conspire to commit a felony. I mean, that's kind of a thing, when the FBI would set up these things on these contract killers and they'd say, hey, my name's, Janet, and I want to bump off my husband, Gabe. Could you find me somebody to do that? And the guy's like, hey, I'll do it. I'll do it for $50. I don't like Gabe anyway. Yeah. Even though I'm still alive.
Yeah.
You committed a felony.
That's right. Seriously, put the seat down.
Yes.
Okay.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I
know.
All right. So the general counsel for Planned Parenthood in this case, named Aaron Thompson, is quoted in the story as saying, we're reviewing all of our options. We will continue to vigorously defend this case based on hypotheticals and fictitious patients. And then at the hearing, another attorney, John Andrew Hurth, who's representing Planned Parenthood, say there's no proof that the clinic broke the law. He's quoted as saying there's no allegation that any abortion has been performed either in Missouri or outside of Missouri with or without parental consent. Wow. This whole conversation is hypothetical. The judge in the case, though, found merit for allowing the lawsuit to move forward. And so Andrew Bailey, the attorney general, says this is the beginning of the end for Planned Parenthood in the state of Missouri. I think that's probably overly optimistic, but it could really limit what they're doing. And so let me just read part of the story here. The man filming in the clinic told staff that the made-up girl's parents couldn't know about the abortion. Staff then directed him to their affiliate clinics in Kansas, where they said he could bypass parental consent.
Oh, geez.
When the man asked how often girls go out of state for abortions, the Planned Parenthood employee said it happens, quote, every day. So what you have here is a guy who walks in with essentially a worst case scenario.
Mhm.
I have a 13-year-old girl
Mhm.
who is pregnant.
My
And-
niece.
Yeah, my niece.
Which has its own implications, by the way.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure her parents do not know about this invasive, surgical, life-altering, body-altering thing.
That's also
Can-
going to happen to kill somebody.
Right. Can you help me with this? And their answer is yes. Let us help you bypass parental consent so they don't know what's going to happen to their 13-year-old daughter.
Guess what, Planned Parenthood? The right answer is, according to Missouri law,
Right.
I cannot recommend an out-of-state abortion for a minor. And then, you say, I'm sorry, sir, I can't help you. Good day. But of course,
we can do a pregnancy test.
We can do a pregnancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, sure. There are plenty of services, right?
Right.
That they say they do, that they offer, except of course they only really do them in connection to an abortion. But that's, you would think that if their goal was simply to, abide by the law and then, fulfill their role in women's health care, that's the tack they would take. But their goal is actually to kill babies.
Right.
They want to facilitate it. They want to make sure it happens. So it's like, hey, a minor, a story about a minor comes in, or an actual minor comes in. It's like, I'm 13 years old. I'm pregnant by my uncle. I can't get an abortion here in Missouri. What should I do? Obviously, they're going to say, hey, go kill it over here.
Right. Here's the thing is, like, this is my niece, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Good chance they weren't going to ask for proof that this was the uncle.
Oh, gosh, no.
In that sort of situation, you should be suspicious. And so this guy brought to them something that would just scream, this is possible sexual abuse of a minor.
Absolutely.
This is possible statutory rape resulting in a pregnancy. And I don't want the parents to know, and I don't want to get caught. And their answer was, we're on your side. We're going to help you. Is it possible that you can work for Planned Parenthood and be a good, decent human being at the same time?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, not unless you are absolutely ignorant, to such a wild degree that, I have trouble that, believing that you managed to clothe yourself in the morning.
Right.
There isn't a possible way to look at all the evidence stacked up against Planned Parenthood and not understand that they are an evil organization dedicated towards evil ends.
Right. I mean, because the story that the guy came in for the undercover operation, the story wasn't, hey, my girlfriend's pregnant. We're really not ready to get married. What do we do here? Can you help us? We don't want this baby. I'm 26. She's 25. It wasn't like that.
No.
Because in that case, it still may have been borderline, with what they could do under Missouri law, but they'd probably be on legal ground, just on First Amendment grounds, to be able to say, well, you're an adult. Here's the number, call the Kansas one.
Right.
That's not what they were presented with. And their argument is, well, since the guy made up the story and there wasn't actually a pregnant 13-year-old who may or may not have been raped by, an adult, then nothing really happened. There were no abortions. We didn't do anything wrong, when the reality is they were caught red-handed with a standard procedure that they acknowledged. Comes in every day.
Oh, yeah.
And they were acknowledged that this is what we're going to do, is we're going to skirt around the law and tell you how to avoid parental consent, even if it's the conversations happening within the state of Missouri.
And before people suggest that, well, maybe it's that kind of thing only happens at that clinic or only that in the Planned Parenthood of Missouri. Project Veritas has been exposing various Planned Parenthood locations around the country for years now. This is all repeatable, easily identifiable, constant behaviors by this organization. They are always ready to help cover up sexual abuse through an abortion. They're always ready to help older guys traffic young girls across state lines to do these types of things. Every single time Project Veritas has gone in with one of these stories, that is easy. If you have half a brain cell to rub together, you can figure out that something really bad is going on. And these are required reporting agencies. Every single time Project Veritas shows that Planned Parenthood always opts to make sure that a baby dies.
Sexual abuse of children is good for Planned Parenthood's business and bottom line. I'll say it.
Yeah. Talk about a perverse incentive.
Send your letter. Send your letter, Planned Parenthood. Go ahead, bring it on.
Yeah. By the way, Janet takes umbrage at my my use of her in that example about the contract. She's like, hey, now.
Right. She would pay a lot more than $50 if she wanted to knock you off.
And she wouldn't get caught.
No, that's right. All right. What are the things that like just are really good other people are really good at that you just can't seem to pick up? It's not easy for you. There's a list on the internet.
Yeah.
And also George Santos has a new venture.
Okay. The George Santos.
The George Santos. What is probably the worst thing you think I could tell you about George Santos's new venture?
I'm thinking it's on the internet.
You are correct.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's do the segment,
Oh, no.
information segment here. Think about what's the worst thing I could tell you.
Don't make me think about it.
And I'm about to tell you that.
Oh.
I went to my brother to see what he could do. He said, brother, I'd like to help you, but I'm unable to. So I called on my father.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Too tight to mention. Oh, money. Money's too tight to mention.
Feel the sizzling heat of summer savings at Seidenstricker Novi Partners. Rev up your summer on a John Deere compact tractor with 0% financing for 84 months with zero down. Or get 0% financing for 60 months with additional savings. It's time to elevate your equipment game. Don't let this sizzling hot deal slip away. Seidenstricker Novi, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/26/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, what seems easy for other people, but it's hard for you to do?
There are a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a couple things.
Yeah.
One in particular I will never master. My wife can do this very easily. I'm the only one at the table who can't do it for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And it's on the list of the top 10 things. All right, News Talk STL, we got our debate watch party coming up next week. The debate between Donald Trump and whatever state of demise the hamster in Joe Biden's head is in at the time happens on Thursday, the 27th. It's like I heard somebody saying, the wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead. So
that's one of my favorite expressions. It really is.
We're teaming up with Freedom Principle, Missouri, St. Louis Young Republicans, Agers Heating and Air Conditioning to have a debate watch party. Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge. Another one was, you got 2 brain cells and they're fighting for third place right now.
I think I've heard all these in Hannibal.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's great.
I love those old expressions.
Oh, my
I love them
goodness.
so much.
And so that does happen at Johnny's Hideout. Chris and Tim are going to be doing their show from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So go on out. What happens is Chris and Tim are on from 4 to 6. Then our party really kind of starts at 7. Although if you're there to hang out with the show, you're already going to be snacking on stuff or having a drink. And then we just take over Johnny's Hideout at 7 o'clock. And they're going to put the debate up. Do not think this is going to be a prim and proper sit in your seat, take notes, compare. This is going to be a debate watch party in a bar the way that we do it old style. All right. This is going to be fun. All right. NewsTalkSTL.com for more information. All right. Before I get to this list and the question, what are things that other people can just do that you just can't seem to pick up? George Santos, you remember him?
Yeah.
The former Congress critter who got thrown out by his own party, who is currently
For being a lying weirdo.
Yeah, for being a lying weirdo. So he is currently still facing, how many federal charges is he? Former
4?
lawmaker facing a federal indictment on 23 counts of
23.
wire fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Identity theft, other campaign charges. He's pleaded not guilty. But he is like trying to build a social media influencer thing.
Oh, no.
Refers to himself as a congressional icon.
Oh, jeez.
Which he's not.
An icon of what?
Well, that's the thing. And then remember, after he got thrown out of Congress, he went on to Cameo.
Right.
Cameo's still around.
Yeah, that's where you can basically hire a celebrity to deliver a message or something like that.
Right.
too. So,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
a cool little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people, have like Kevin Sorbo give a happy birthday message to their grandma. Or
You can
something
do
like
that. I'm not saying that you should do this for me, but I know that Johnny Bench is on one of those. I'm just saying. But anyway, so he's announced
Noted,
that he's
Rachel.
got a new no, because I know what it will cost. I don't want to and so here's his new venture. He's decided, and he announced on X that he has set up, what's the worst thing you could think of?
An OnlyFans account.
OnlyFans.
Mhm.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. With the minute you said, "What's the worst thing you could think of for some?" and I'm like, okay, this is it. It's the refuge of the narcissistic weirdo, and it really is there. And and now my brain feels very, very dirty.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is it's $30 a month to subscribe to his OnlyFans. Now he goes out of his way saying not everything on OnlyFans is porn, and
Right.
there's going to be no porn. Well, thank God for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, he's also a drag queen guy, and he's really just weird.
Oh, yeah.
So he's decided to do that. The thing is that there will be somebody who spends $30 a month. I have never seen the OnlyFans website. I don't plan on ever seeing
Right.
the
Yeah, I have no idea.
And this is a worst case scenario for that. Okay, let me go here. Let's I don't know, we got a minute or so here. Somebody asked the question, what are things that other people can pick up easily that you just can't seem to get?
Okay, so
they're good at it, but you just can't seem to get good.
This one is very, very embarrassing.
What's that?
I cannot do simple math in my head.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's number 4.
I cannot do simple math in my
Wait
head.
a minute.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I'm a rocket scientist.
You're a
yeah.
freaking rocket scientist.
See, here's the problem.
I can't connect those dots.
Here's the problem. When I transitioned into doing higher level math, where the simple 5 times 6 is the least of your problems. You're messing with letters and equations and all these other things. I did that very, very early on in my math career. So all of the simple math parts were being done on a calculator.
Yeah.
All the rest of it is the hard part. Getting it to fit in the equation, moving all the numbers and letters around. All that's the hard part. And I focused on the hard part. I got really good at the hard part. And the easy part, I did in a calculator. So now I can't do it in my head.
See, that's number 4 on the list.
I wonder if that's like a baseball player who can't put down a bunt.
Oh, there are so many. Don't get me started.
See? Right. It's supposed to be.
You can hit for the fences.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay. I may have to come back to this. Let me just rant for a second.
Now you started it,
some
Sal.
of my teammates who don't know how to do a bunt, and then they try, and then they get their finger smashed because they had their hands in the wrong spot. I'm like, now you know. Now you learn. I'm not going to kiss it and make it all better. That's what you get for not knowing how to do a bunt. Just saying. Triggered me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It sure did, man.
Oh man. All right. Anything that you like other people can just pick up and do that you just can't seem to pick it up the way other people can.
Well, I know this is going to sound silly, but I agree with Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
Because
basic
simple
math,
math. Yeah, math is an issue for me, which is why I married someone who can do math very well.
Yeah, my wife is my calculator now.
My number, the number 11 is the one with me. I have, for the life of me, never figured out how to use chopsticks.
Really?
I just for some reason the dexterity in my hand it just won't do it. My wife and like my daughter and they picked it up right away.
Interesting.
Number 9 was hula hooping. Number 8,
I can't
shuffling cards.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Basic math was number 4. Number 3, remembering names.
I'm horrible at remembering names. It takes me a good number of tries.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
Just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Louisiana has become the first state to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom.
Republican Governor Jeff Landry has signed the bill into law. The legislation drafted by Republicans calls for a poster-sized display of the 10 Commandments in easily readable font be displayed in all public classrooms from kindergarten to state-funded universities. Opponents question the law's constitutionality, warning there could be lawsuits. Proponents say the purpose of the measure is not solely religious, but that it has historical significance. The displays must be in place in classrooms by the start of 2025. I'm Mike Hempen.
Legal challenges are expected. The American Civil Liberties Union has promised a lawsuit to block that newly signed measure in Louisiana. New Mexico officials have been assessing the damage from 2 large wildfires. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham.
What we also believe to be the case, it's not confirmed, that about 500 homes are in that mix, again making this one of the most devastating fires in New Mexico's history.
At least 2 people have died in those wildfires. It's the first day of summer, but much of the U.S. has been facing summer-like heat for several days now. The far-reaching heat wave continues with alerts and advisories posted in more than a dozen states from the Great Lakes to the East Coast. Russia is bolstering ties in Asia as it faces international isolation over its military actions in Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin signed a series of deals with Vietnam's leader. Comes a day after he reached a strategic partnership with North Korea. NASDAQ futures higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Madame Giselle senses something big coming. Is it a career change? Everything looks wet. I'm going to be a swim teacher. There's a roof. A swim teacher who also does roofing. No, the roof of your RV has a leak and it's ruining the furniture. Oh, that's okay. I'm covered by Progressive. But maybe I'm a swim teaching roofer who makes furniture.
Customize your coverage with Progressive's Roof Protection Plus and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roof Protection Plus available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim.
Hi, I'm Kevin Costner. I'm proud to introduce my new theatrical epic, Horizon, an American saga. There was a promise in America. If you're strong enough, if you're tough enough, you can make what's out there yours. It was not a fair place, but people aspired to be great. I think Horizon is all about that.
Horizon, an American saga. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters June 28th.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer of officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies, a sticky evening, too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There is something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up, St. Louis.
Will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up, this is your cousin.
Trying to get into the heads of these climate cultists.
Oh, gosh.
They sunk to a new low yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll tell you about that here in just a minute.
An impressive new low.
Yeah, I mean but we tie it into this hard left. It's not even just about this particular group, whether it's the environmental wackos, whether it's the Black Lives Matter types, whether it's the Antifa types, whether it's the pro-Hamas types. You've got this theme in their thinking when it comes to their tactics, and I'm going to question part of our lack of response to them. So we'll get to that here in just a couple of minutes. Okay. But I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to pose a hypothesis. I'm going to pose a theory out there. It's not going to be real popular with some people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong to even ask the question, but we'll get to that in a second. 8:06 right now. I'm Mike, got Gabe here, got Stell here. I mentioned this a little bit ago in the news dump, and I will read the whole story here in I guess during the 820 news dump. But there is a Missouri-based, a St. Louis World War II soldier who was killed in action in 1944, who is finally, after almost 80 years, and I say almost 80 years because I think it was like 80 years later this year, is going to finally be buried at Jefferson Barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked us about this.
Yeah.
And so here's what's happening. Let me grab my news roundup stuff here, my news dump here stuff. And it's, I just kind of found the story on Missouri Net, and it generated some interest here in that Staff Sergeant Woodrow Gertis apparently was killed in action. He went missing in action in November of 1944 while fighting the Germans in Western Germany. So he was part of our military who took the fight to the Germans, like right up their, gullet.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not find his remains until 1947. It was buried in a foxhole. He was then buried while still unknown in 1949 in Belgium, just buried as an unknown American soldier. Then they disinterred the remains in 2018 for DNA testing. And for some reason, it took until last year for them to positively identify those remains as those of Staff Sergeant Woodrow Gertis of St. Louis. He was part of the U.S. Army's 28th Infantry Division. And so now he is being brought back to the United States, and he's going to be buried properly at JB. So here's the thing, is so many of those men that went over there to fight didn't have families. they were sons. They weren't husbands. They weren't, and so I don't know anything about his family. If he has family here in the area, I would love to talk to you because we would love to be involved with some sort of honoring of him.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance that there's no family.
Right.
Probably, as far as we know, didn't have a wife, didn't have any children, if he were, a sibling of others that was 80 years ago, there's a good chance nobody's left.
Right. Who remembers him.
Right. Maybe there's some, nieces and nephews out there, who knows, but there's a chance that this may simply be an unclaimed remains of a serviceman.
Right.
But he was still one of our military, patriots.
Our honored dead.
So on July 1st, he's going to be finally laid to rest at Jefferson Barracks. And Jefferson Barracks cemetery is cem.va.gov. And then you just look up Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery on there. I don't see anything on there about a particular event. So I'm assuming it'll probably be, the proper military send off.
Sure. Yeah.
With the
folded flag and all that.
Yeah. To whom it goes, I don't know.
Right.
But there's nothing on the website. So if you want to know more about that, I would encourage you to be in touch with JB.
Yeah. A listener on Facebook said, hey, look, if we know the details, there would be many patriots who would be in attendance. It's very similar to I think what bikers have done in some of these instances where there's no family, but they make sure that they are honored properly by somebody, that somebody's in attendance of these services. So whoever's out there, if you are interested in doing this, again, we don't have the time. We do know it's July 1st. We do know it's at Jefferson Barracks. We don't know exactly where on the property it is, but I would encourage you to go to the website and call them and ask about it.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. I mean, it's a VA website.
Yeah.
So the number on there is a 1-800 website, which probably takes you to somebody in Washington, D.C.
I did find a main number. It's 314-652-4100.
Can you write that down? Because
sure.
I'll give them a call a little bit later on today, see if there's more information I can update people on.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow. So anyway, but let's take the best case scenario, and there is somebody in the family who finally found out last year that they had recovered his body. And because that means that there are entire family members who live the rest of their lives, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, not knowing what happened to cousin or uncle or sibling Woodrow Gertis. Now, if there's any family left, they know. And maybe there's a robust family. Maybe there are nieces and nephews everywhere who finally get this send off that grandma and grandpa didn't get. So that's, I think, something that it's one of those things. The fact that there's interest in it shows that we still have the character here in the St. Louis area to try to do the right thing. Even if there's no family there, we can do this.
Absolutely.
Send off. And if it's early in the morning, obviously we can't do it on this show, but if it's not, then I would be up for, going and joining you all out there. So anyway, as we know more, we will tell you more as well. Okay. Let me go to, we got a few minutes here to talk about this nonsensical, climate stuff. These Just Stop Oil idiots. Okay. They don't care that I just called them idiots.
No,
they don't care because they are that outrageous and insane. And we've seen them mostly in Europe, although they do some of this in the United States as well. For instance, they were among those groups who were running onto the congressional baseball game a week or so ago, trying to stop it. Why? Because we're angry that people are not living the way that we tell them to, and we're going to disrupt or stop or take control of whatever we want because we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Well, it's the solstice. Is that today is the solstice?
Yeah. 3:51 this afternoon
is the
when
actual
summer actually arrives. Yes.
Okay. So this is the longest daylight day of the year.
Yep.
So, which would have been, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever hours ago in Europe,
That's right.
And so at the Stonehenge monoliths there, the building, whatever the structure was designed to be.
I think they're 6 hours ahead of us. Maybe
6 hours. Okay.
In England.
And so there were some people there probably for the solstice. And these Just Stop Oil people ran up and decided to cause a commotion. This is what you're hearing from somebody who was shooting it on social media. A couple of them ran up with orange powdered spray paint.
Yeah.
They say it was corn flour.
Mm-hmm.
And they're defacing the Stonehenge monuments.
Right. For some reason.
I'm pretty sure whoever built Stonehenge didn't stop at the BP on the way there.
It's like, we need to stop building such monuments. They burn so much carbon somehow, I guess.
I don't think that happened.
No, you don't think that?
That was nice the way you did that, because you could have said Quick Trip or something, but
BP,
British
That's
Petroleum.
Right. I know.
Well done.
I'm done. I'm
Nice.
telling you.
Yeah.
I'm a trained professional. and only one little old lady ran up and tried to stop them.
Yeah.
Physically.
Really sad.
I mean, grabbing the shirts and stuff of these men who were doing this.
Yeah.
And Just Stop Oil says, hey, this was a corn flour thing. It'll wash off when it rains, but we're making our point and leave this. Well, the Stonehenge organization, the whatever trust is set up to monitor Stonehenge, says these are protected by not only British but also UNESCO site law. They actually said expect prison sentences.
Yes, they're for serious.
The reality is that almost none of these people who do these disruptions, who stop traffic and say you can't go to your doctor's office or you can't go to work because I say so.
They glue themselves to the floor someplace,
right?
Or well, just throw soup at
paintings
at expensive and prized possessions of art. Gosh, I hate these people. I hate them.
I do. And because they've got this mindset, and this goes along with like the Black Lives Matter, the Antifa, the pro-Hamas that they believe that they have the right and the authority to take over whatever part of your life that they want to make their case.
It's very much a moral high ground argument they have that by whatever means necessary, I have to do this because I'm saving the planet, saving a race of people, or what was it? Preventing genocide. However they want to spin it. Yeah. They make some sort of moral high ground argument that whatever they do in pursuit of their goal is allowable. It should be allowable.
So I hope that these so-called protesters end up going to jail in Europe.
Oh gosh.
And they're far more permissive than we are. They're more amenable overall to the hard left stuff than we are in much of this country. But here's the question I'm going to pose, last minute or couple minutes we've got here, is the fact that very few people are reacting with force. For instance, the environmental protesters who were blocking the road out in the Southwest to whatever music festival that was.
Yeah.
What happens is the local ranger, sheriff, whatever it was, takes his souped up SUV, law enforcement vehicle, drives through their protest.
Yes.
Breaks apart their trailer that they used to block the road. Starts throwing people on the ground.
Oh yeah. Pulls his gun out.
Yeah.
To get on the ground.
They threw a fit. How can you overreact? This is police brutality. And the local authorities said, we'll look into it. And then we never heard anything about it again.
By the way, I believe that was tribal land. So that was a tribal authority.
Do not mess with the tribal authorities.
They do not play around.
They are not bound by the same laws that are law enforcement. Do not mess with the tribal authorities, the tribal cops at all.
No.
Never mess with them.
Ever.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And so when you look at, like, for instance, here in St. Louis during the Black Lives Matter / George Floyd riots, the interstates were blocked.
Yep.
At night, there was an attempt to, after the Ferguson riots, that people were trying to run out and block the interstates and the highways here. Streets in St. Louis, around downtown. We've got this here, but it's this hard left lack of respect for your individual rights, hard left lack of respect for your property rights, hard left lack of acknowledgement that there are things that they don't own. They say they've got a right to do that, but there are never any consequences, either immediate or with actual jail time. I hope these people go to jail.
Yes, absolutely. there's never a cop around for some reason. Well, or when they are there, they're just kind of like, they're just trying to keep the peace. They don't seem to know, like there doesn't seem to be a procedure that they go through for these things. I would love to see an immediate and swift response. I mean, not necessarily as aggressive as, let's say, that that situation in Arizona, but simply if you're sitting in the road, you get arrested,
right?
And they're already on the ground. You just got to turn them over and put the cuffs on.
Well, but that's the thing. Like one guy, it looks like he was probably a college age kid. He's spraying his stuff, and this little old lady went up and grabs him, and he immediately turns around and sits down and puts his hands behind his back.
Right.
So it's like, I'm the hero, I'm the martyr. You're going to take my picture of me. Well, it was this little old lady.
Yeah, seriously.
But here's the thing: is nobody else thought to go up and physically stop them.
Yeah.
If you're stopped at an intersection where, whose streets are streets or Free Palestine or whatever, and they decide to sit there, what if we started going up there and grabbing them by the back of the shirt or their whatever and moving them?
Absolutely.
But we get blamed for starting a fight when they're the ones doing it.
Yeah. You know what? I don't care. I'm throwing hands.
We got a viewer on Rumble who wanted to know if the protesters walked to Stonehenge, as did the original people who built it.
That's right.
Or did they drive their gas vehicles to the protest?
I didn't even think about that. That is, unless you are driving a Fred Flintstone vehicle,
the foot powered,
shut the F up.
Absolutely.
Goat Lady says they haven't been punished. This will continue until accountability happens. Absolutely. Blues Nut says if you control speech, creativity, you control people. It's part of their plan. Yep, that's without question here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it's not just about these cartoon characters and their environmental climate cultism. This is part of, they will insist on controlling, even for a moment. And we sit around and go, I can't believe you did that. We'll stop them from doing it next time.
Yeah. They're not trying to make allies like the old protesters were. They're trying to make subjects. They're trying to make a subject out of you.
Yep. That's just part of hard left thinking.
Resist.
All right. 314-912-1019. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You're gonna blow us all away. Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Rock bottom prices. Take a look at boomshackfireworks.com. Boom Shack Fireworks in Pacific. Plus 15% of everything through June 23rd. Boomshackfireworks.com.
Old man winter in the rearview mirror. Warmer weather here. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service. 636-379-1830. 24/7 at hansonstree.com. This is the perfect time to spruce up and beautify your landscape beds. When you purchase organic mulch in bulk from Hanson's, you save on price, time, and incredibly convenient. Tons of commercial and residential tree care services as well. Grinding and land clearing, plant health care, and more. 636-379-1830. hansonstree.com. hansonstree.com.
Freedom isn't just a word. It should be a way of life for all Missourians. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a state where you're free from excessive taxes, regulations, and corporate handouts, and free to send your children to the school of your choice? That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can progress to a bright future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from a Bill of Rights for parents to government transparency, school report cards, healthcare reform, and more. Our vision is for Missouri to be a place where entrepreneurs can pursue their dreams. Parents are free to direct the education of their children, and a growing economy provides opportunities for all. Critical to achieving this vision is a government that understands the value of freedom in the lives and future of our people. Check out our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Columbo and Katie.
Mark Lauder, Chief Communications Officer at the America First Policy Institute.
This is the third time Donald Trump has run for president. You're telling me that a third of the donors didn't donate in 2016, didn't donate in 2020, but now feel so motivated that they opened up their wallets and gave $25. $200 million total. Joe Biden raised $51 million all last month.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, a lawsuit's filed in hopes of stopping a free money scheme in St. Louis City. White House doubles down on their claim that all those videos of President Biden being very Biden-y, those are fakes.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals being featured on a national broadcast from an historic field for tonight's game. This is going to be really cool.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, just a reminder, tomorrow's Flashback Friday. Got an 80s bump music request?
Bring it on.
Bring it our way. Time's running out. Stell's going to settle in that final bump music request, bump music set by today.
Yeah, we'll make out the lineup.
All right, there we go.
Together.
Okay, a lawsuit is filed in an effort to stop St. Louis City's cash giveaway known as Guaranteed Basic Income. The group that filed the lawsuit is calling themselves the Holy Joe Society.
Holy Joe, Batman.
Named after a former prosecutor and governor. They say that the program violates both the Missouri Constitution and the city charter. The Guaranteed Basic Income Program is a $52 million program of federal COVID-era money.
Oh, yeah.
That was given to the city, and it gives about 440 families a free $500 per month basic free stipend. We're just sending you a check because you're in the income guidelines, and specifically because you have children in the St. Louis Public School District, the St. Louis City Public School District. So here's $500 a month, and it's a pilot program that was signed into law in 2022.
Yeah, it's horrible, it's stupid, and it violates all kinds of things. So I really hope that lawsuit goes. Although I'm wondering why they took so long with it, because that law passed in like 20.
It was December of 2022 is when it was signed into place. So it started last year. So there's 440 families that are getting basically $6,000 a year for free from the pockets of other people. But this is as any universal basic income program is, and this, they just call it guaranteed basic income. They want to see it be successful, using air quotes here, so that they could expand it, because between, whatever calls City Hall is got for other big government programs, this may be the most overtly socialist, that they are one of 30 some cities around the country that are trying some kind of pilot program to guarantee basic income. And they're saying, well, maybe people will move here if we have it. Well, I guess that's possible. How are you going to afford that?
Yes, so stupid.
Just stupid. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. Senator James Lankford, the Oklahoma Republican, kind of criticizing the White House's new so-called immigration policy. Of course, this is an executive order. This would allow illegal immigrants who have managed to be in the U.S. for at least 10 years and they're married to a U.S. citizen to get permanent residence and eventually be granted citizenship. He was on the Faulkner Focus on Fox yesterday.
The Biden administration is also directly violating the law, and they know it. That's why they're doing it right before the election, is they want to make this an election issue. And they also know the courts are going to throw this out because the law clearly states you can't do parole on someone currently in the country. They have to be outside the country.
That executive order, executive program that the Biden administration is pushing would also make the path to citizenship easier for other illegal immigrants as well.
This whole executive fiat amnesty scheme is one that smacks of, frankly, election interference at this point.
Well, there's two thoughts to that. One, Senator Langford says they want to make this an election issue. Everything the Biden administration's doing, even among those in the center and even slightly center left, is incredibly unpopular.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't win you any votes.
No.
So is it a matter of we hope that the courts throw it out, or we anticipate the courts throw it out, and then we get to say, look at how mean these extremists are on the right, tearing a father from his family just because the father's been living as a criminal for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit I've been hardened to the point that if you show me this, look at this, he came from a working class I can see the commercial now.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Black and white. He struggled to get to the United States. He
Mm-hmm.
met the love of his life. They've been married for 11 years. They've got a 6-year-old little girl who
put down
just,
roots, as American as apple pie.
And these extremists want to rip this father away from his family. And I'm going to go, that's not my fault. That's his fault.
Yes.
You had 10 years, 11 years, however long you've been here to make it right, to get a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, to try to do it right. And if
Mm-hmm.
you choose not to do that, that's on you. That's called the consequences for your illegal behavior.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you. And do I feel bad for your daughter? Sure. Blame you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at you for that.
You did it.
Not me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here. What else we got going on here? Okay. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre doubling down on the claim that all those videos, or many of those videos of President Joe Biden being, lost, lights are on, but nobody's home kind of thing. Those are cheap fakes.
Right. Yes.
Which she should have trademarked, and because she'd make a lot of money.
Oh
off of
gosh,
it.
yeah.
Congressman Ronnie Jackson, Republican out of Texas, was on Hannity last night on Fox to talk about that.
This is a sad, desperate attempt to spin the reality of what's actually happening here and to try to get the American people to stop asking the question that they're asking now is what's wrong with this man, right?
And so saying, well, that's what you're saying is not real. I mean, it's unbelievable gaslighting that they're trying to do. And now we're seeing mainstream media pick this up. And guys, I think we're going to see more of that, of the legacy media to step up and go, well, we got to run interference for him, kind of the way the social media companies have done over the last several years. We got to try to run interference. And so CBS did like a 5-minute thing on their news last night, or was it last night or the night before?
2 nights ago, maybe.
Within the last couple of days of trying to explain away the cheap fakes and buy into it. And the woman who was anchoring it, she literally looked like in one of those movies, the hostage who's got the gun to their head. Like she knows what she's saying is BS.
Right.
But
she has
to say it.
Gotta say it. Oh yeah. And she was interviewing another lady who also kind of had the deer in the headlights looks like, okay, cheap fakes are exactly what we've been doing in the media to create misinformation about conservatives. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how it's been weaponized against Joe Biden to show him as being old and out of touch, because he is.
Find the story on Red State on that. They've got the video and everything there.
By the way, I found out that the video that they were claiming in that package was manipulated somehow. That cut out the guy that Joe Biden was supposedly talking to when he walked over. That was the official video from the White House. That was their version of the video that was circulating, and everybody interpreted it the same way.
And the weird thing is that CBS actually had to like put up a correction video. Like, well, we put up the wrong video for the deep or cheap fake one. Here's the thing. Listen, I try to vet everything that I see. There are some sources on the right that I refuse to use. Because I know they manipulate. Even if they're trying to do what we're trying to do.
And they're getting people into trouble, by the way, through those manipulations, as we've discussed here with that story out of Kansas City and with the shooter and the guy who was falsely accused of being him. But you got to be careful.
There are some very popular sites on the right that I refuse to use as a source, because I know that they are not above manipulating or lying or selectively editing or cutting something off, before the rest of the and I don't use those.
Right.
people will send me links sometimes. They're like, hey, check this out. And it's from one of these sites.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
My response is, do you have a different source?
Now, of course,
or I'll Google search, but I'm not going to look at this.
Now, of course, it's a drop in the bucket in comparison to, the types of manipulation you get from the left, because it's not just that it's coming from, Joe 84752 on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's that it's coming from CBS News.
Right.
And the other thing that has me stumped is all the folks on the left, unless I'm missing it, I don't hear them saying misinformation or disinformation regarding this stuff. To me, it's like misinformation, disinformation. That's what we're accusing you of. But I haven't heard them use that phrase. It's just the cheap fake kind of thing.
Cheap fake is the new thing that we're all supposed to know exactly what that is.
The new hotness.
Well, of course, cheap fakes. No, but you're not falling for cheap fake. No, I'm not falling for cheap fakes.
Whatever cheap fakes are, I guess so.
All right. The chairman of the Illinois Republican Party is calling it quits. Don Tracy issued his resignation on Wednesday, saying there's too much infighting in the party. That seems to be a theme with the GOP around the country. Tracy has been the chair since 2021. He will remain on the job until his replacement is chosen, probably sometime next month. Also, the Cardinals end up losing their series to the Marlins of Florida yesterday. Marlins win 2 of the games. Cardinals won 1. Final score yesterday, 4-3. Nolan Gorman had a home run. Nolan Arenado taken out of the game after getting hit by a pitch in the elbow. So I don't know what his status is right now. The Redbirds play the San Francisco Giants on historic Rickwood Field tonight. That is a nationally featured game. You can watch that on Fox. Fox is, we're not talking Fox News. We're talking actual broadcast Fox Channel 2. They are blowing out all of their primetime programming tonight in order to show that Cardinals-Giants game on Rickwood Field. First pitch is at 6:15.
Definitely must-see TV, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. I've actually got a game myself tonight, but I guarantee you somebody's going to have the game up in the dugout, and we'll be watching it as well.
Oldest U.S. ballpark, once home to the Negro League Birmingham Black Barons.
That's right. Which had
Willie Mays' first team.
Which had Willie Mays on that team.
That's right.
Who just passed away this week.
It's a shame he didn't make it to this game.
I know, because I think he was planning on
being
there. So they're going to have a very special honoring of one of the greatest ever. All right. What are things that you just can't pick up that other people seem to be able to pick up? We started that conversation.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people commenting on this as well. And so we'll go through the list of what the interwebs had to say, because some of these are like life skills that are not important. A couple of them are life skills you probably should know that some people are like, I'm just not good at this. Let's compare notes just ahead.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Summer officially begins this afternoon, and we are bringing some summer solstice sizzle up to about 96 this afternoon with a top heat index of 99. Mostly sunny skies, a sticky evening too. We won't drop back below 90 until around 7 o'clock tonight, and then down to 76 early Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday look even hotter as highs inch closer to 100. Top heat index jumps to 103. Got some rain and storms quick in and quick out on Sunday morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
Fox News commentary.
We are a week away from the first presidential debate, and the bar for Joe is too low. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
A violent crime is committed every 24 seconds. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association exists to provide you with firearms education, training, and access to self-defense liability insurance. So when trouble comes, you'll be ready. Over 800,000 Americans trust the USCCA, and right now, there's an exclusive, limited-time offer for radio listeners. Go to defendfamily.com to get a free family defense guide, a survival secrets training video from a retired FBI agent, and see all the benefits of membership. Go to defendfamily.com now.
The first presidential debate hosted by CNN is a week away, and the rules have been set. There will be 2 commercial breaks during the 90-minute duel, and the candidates will not be able to consult with other members of their campaign during the breaks. The podiums and positions will be determined by a coin flip. Their mics will only be hot during their allotted speaking time. No props or prepared notes will be allowed, and each candidate will only be given a pen, notepad, and bottle of water. For the first time in recent history, there will be no studio audience. But I have questions. Will they be drug tested or checked for earpieces ahead of the debate? If Joe has to be pumped up with something, we should know what it is. Also, do we know Joe won't be given the questions ahead of time? I'd also note the right is setting the bar far too low for Joe. Make him live up to higher expectations than just the ability to stand and stay awake. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Attention homeowners and businesses. AMF Electric has been your trusted partner since 1985. For your home, our residential experts treat every project with the utmost utmost care and importance. From simple repairs to complete renovations, we've got you covered. Businesses, our commercial team handles all types of construction with expertise and efficiency. Even clients from out of state request our top-notch services. Available 24/7. We're just a call away at 314-647-4066 or amfelectric.com.
There she goes again. It might be out of here. 4 in a row for Musial.
The Cardinals host the Giants Saturday, June 22nd, and that day, 25,000 fans, 16 and up, will take home a popular 30-ounce Stanley Musial tumbler. This exclusive Cardinals beverage holder is stainless steel and comes complete with a handle, lid, and straw, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Quick Trip. Quench your thirst in style at Busch Stadium Saturday, June 22nd. For tickets and more details, go to cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Ozzie Smith, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
TGI Summer, calling all teachers. Teachers Night presented by Millipore Sigma returns to the ballpark on Monday, June 24th and Tuesday, June 25th. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, you will take home an exclusive Cardinals quarter zip pullover featuring the birds on a pencil. And as a special treat, you will receive a drink coupon for a drink on us. For more information or to purchase, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Nolan Arenado, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Seems appropriate for today.
Since we're talking baseball tonight,
let's go.
And this is Major League Baseball doing something special. Listen, Major League Baseball gets a lot wrong. About the game and, trying to dip their toe in the wokeness kind of stuff.
And some of these new rules.
Yeah, the new rule don't go. Most of those new rules are completely stupid. But what they're doing tonight is this is a nod to their history, both Negro Leagues and otherwise, because Rick Woodfield is famous for being a former Negro Leagues stadium. But it's also a minor league stadium. And so it's one of the lifespan of this field is just really unique. I mean, you think about every legend from Ty Cobb to Josh Gibson have played on that field, so that's gonna be on Fox tonight. Cardinals, Giants, the outcome of the game isn't as much the big deal as they're doing it.
Yes.
There. And of course they were going to honor Willie Mays. I think they were planning on having him honored in person because he played there.
I think so.
And then he passes away this week. So his Hall of Fame replica plaque is up at the stadium now. So that's going to be very touching. I mean, I hate to say that it could even be more touching now that he's gone. It would have been better if he was there.
Yes.
But it's going to be very meaningful.
Now, the game is listed as 6:15. I'm guessing they'll do some pregame stuff. So you might want to tune in at 6 or maybe even 5:30. But
no later
at least
than
at 6.
Yeah, no later than 6.
I imagine they're going to go a little extra now that that Willie Mays has passed. So whatever package they had, prepared for this, they're putting some extra on it right now.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
All right, that's on Channel 2 tonight. Okay, I brought this up a little bit ago. Boy, did people have some thoughts on this. So on Reddit, somebody said, what are those skills or just the things that other people seem to be able to pick up and do, and you just can't do it?
Right.
Okay, and say, Mike, we got the world ending. What are you talking about? Listen, here's what happens.
I need a break.
After the 4th of July in an election year, between July and August, things go red line with the primaries. So when it comes to the race for governor, when it comes to the race for attorney general, when it comes to, listen, we're all over those.
And we're kicking it off even a little early with this first debate on Thursday. We're going to be all in, right? So
we're going to have our time to be immersed or submerged, however you feel about it, in politics.
It's coming.
This, I think, is interesting here. Some of these are like skills that aren't necessarily life skills. Other ones are maybe you should know that people just like, I try, I just can't get it.
Oh, yeah.
You blew me away with your answer, which, by the way, was number 4 on the list.
Yes, and it looks like a lot of people who were listening, they kind of agreed with me in solidarity.
Yes.
Like, yes, I also have trouble with this. I can't do basic math in my head. And we're talking your multiplication tables you learned in 3rd grade. For some reason, they all just kind of went away somewhere in there because, once I started doing advanced math and started messing with the letters and symbols and
all that Greek
equation,
stuff.
all the Greek, it was not Greek to me. I really love that stuff, and I concentrated on it. And all the simple math I just did on the calculator because the tests were really about can you do the advanced stuff.
Right.
So I did the simple stuff on my calculator, and the skill of doing it in my head just simply disappeared.
That was number 4. You're not alone on that. And here are some of the other skills that people say, I just can't get this. Number 11 is what I came up with. As much as I try, I cannot master the use of chopsticks.
Yeah.
I have tried. I can't do it. I don't know why. My hands don't have the dexterity for it for whatever reason.
Your fingers won't fing.
No, they will not do whatever you're supposed to do. My wife, no problem. She just grabs them and she's good. My daughter, I don't even think anybody showed her how to do it. She just kind of innately knew. Maybe it's because she's half Asian. I don't know. But
genetic.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have never been able to do that. Do you have any of those?
No, but I was going to say, did you try with 2 hands?
Yes, which basically just makes me look like
silly,
dumb. And I don't need any help looking dumb.
Well, it's funny. Another listener agreed with you about the chopsticks, but she also said she can't hold her fork like a pencil, like most of us do. She holds it, I guess, caveman style. And she says she looks like she's shoveling food into her mouth. So I mean, look, it could be worse.
Okay, how about this? And I never thought of this one: cutting in a straight line with scissors.
Oh, my wife can't do that.
Really?
Yes, she can do the math in her head, so she does my math, and then I do her cutting.
There you go. Okay. Shuffling cards is number 8.
I can do that, but
casino.
I can see it.
Okay.
I can understand it.
I can do the thing where you bend the cards up and then do it.
Yeah.
But like when you do the thing where you arc them and bend them, I can't do that.
Oh, I've seen that one. I think I tried it once or twice.
Yeah.
I think I was successful 1 out of the 3 times.
like you see the cowboy movies and they're in the saloon and they've got
they're doing all kinds of things.
I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Compared to a magic trick.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, number 9 is hula hooping.
I cannot hula hoop.
Really?
At all.
Okay.
Like my hips don't. Shakira's hips don't lie. My hips can't hula hoop. Okay, so yeah.
So we won't get you one for your birthday.
Still, can you hula hoop?
Please no.
Yes,
you can.
Yeah. No problem at all.
See,
I've done it since I was a little kid.
No kidding.
Nope. Yep.
That's funny.
It's out of my wheelhouse.
Can you roll your R's?
Ruffles have ridges.
There you go. You can do
exactly.
that.
Nice.
Here's another one that it's number 6, but I think it probably should be number 1 based on what I see around the St. Louis Metro. Parking straight.
Oh my.
I think most people can't park straight based on my observation.
And not even just parallel parking, just parking straight.
Right. It's like just line up the car with the line. Now from your position in the car, you're on the left side of the car, so there's going to be some weird angles. You just have to learn how to work with the angles.
To learn how to drive.
It's trig.
I mean, my goodness.
The trick that I learned, actually, the one that Kathy taught me, is once you're in the space, put your car in reverse if you've got cameras at the back of your car.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
then you can line up the
it has
the
the little
stripes
lines
on either side.
It has the little lines built into the camera view.
Here's
right?
also the other thing is, like, for instance, there are so many parts of St. Louis because it's an old city with old infrastructure, like old roads and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parking on the street here because when a lot of these homes were built, there were no garages. Right. Sometimes there were no driveways.
Right.
You don't have to be 3 feet away from the curb to park. If you can't get your car within 6 inches, you're not a good driver.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Janet says that she can't whistle.
I know a few other people.
She reminded me that she can't whistle. Yeah. So and I occasionally just whistle out of habit.
Yeah.
Just and she's like, stop making fun of me. I was like, I'm not. I'm just whistling.
So I can do like the basics, but there are some people like the whistling is their musical instrument. I can't do that. Yeah, a little Andy Griffith there.
But try to do the 2 fingers in the mouth.
Oh, I can't do that.
I can't do that.
Oh yeah, the big loud, get your attention whistle. I cannot do that.
No.
I have no idea what people are doing. It's like, what What are you doing with your
The one
fingers?
that coaches use all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Right.
You're looking
They
at-
learned that in coaching college. Or something. Now, how about this one? We've covered basic math. How about remembering names?
I'm horrible.
I am really good at remembering faces.
Yes.
But I've got to meet you a few times before I remember the names. And that is not, gee, I meet a lot of people and what I do for, no, I mean, it's like if I meet you 2 or 3 times and have conversations with you, then it's going to sink in after a while.
It's like the connection just doesn't fire off. Mike, I met you like 3 times before we started working together at this radio station.
Yeah.
And it on the 3rd time, I remember that your name started with M.
Here's the other part that complicates this. How many people do we know through social media? So you may know their handle, but the picture may be 10 years old and you don't make the connection.
Right. Yeah. We occasionally see like Beetle Baby. You know, it's like one of our super fans who shows up in all of our
she's great.
She's awesome. And she shows up at our events. It's like you gotta do this.
Beetle Baby.
You gotta do this like I know you. It's like I've seen you. Oh yeah, Beetle Baby.
Yeah, here's a life skill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, life skill that people need to have. And number one, what people can't seem to master, knowing when to get out of a conversation you don't want to be.
Oh, yes. That's the conversation extraction.
Okay.
Conundrum.
Guy with a communications degree, guy who used to get paid, pretty good money to be a communications consultant and communications director.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what the best thing is.
Okay.
Be direct. You don't have to be rude, but be direct.
Okay.
For instance, if there's a conversation, somebody's chewing your ear off or whatever the case is, you just say, hey, great to see you again. I've got to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
Got to run on out of here.
Right.
I got to jump out. Nice to meet you. And then turn around and walk away.
Okay. So you can't, you shouldn't say something like, I don't want to talk to you and I have feet, so I'm going to leave.
You can do that too. That will definitely end the conversation.
Okay. All right.
But if you don't want to be in the conflict, what you can do is you just simply say, hey, I need to do something else. Great talking to you, but I've got to go now. And then you just walk off.
Okay. Just end it.
Just end it.
Rip off the Band-Aid.
Easier said than done. I know.
Have to go to the little boy's room.
Yeah.
Please don't follow me.
Yeah. Of course, some other people put in here finding a partner. Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
In 2024. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna apologize for you.
I just thank God I do not have to date.
So glad
anymore.
I got that over 20-some years ago.
314-912-1019. This is 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Yeah, a lot of people is joining us on the can't whistle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Laura says she actually has trouble with the backup camera thing.
Oh yeah, lining it up.
Some of those are, weird too.
Mm-hmm.
As well. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I spent some time in the Mudville night, watching it from the fence. I took some lumps when the mighty case struck out. So say, hey, Willie, tell the cow, and Joe DiMaggio, don't say it ain't so, the time is now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Oh, put me in cold, I'm ready to play today. Put me in cold, I'm ready to play today. Look at me, I could be center field.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
Are you concerned about the future of America, the economy, the courts, threats to our freedoms?
Chris Arps here. Join News Talk STL for Saving America 2024, June 25th at the St. Charles Funny Bone. Hear from renowned experts Joel Griffith and Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation as they analyze the critical issues facing our nation and provide insight into securing America's prosperity. Secure your tickets now at newstalkstl.com before they sell out.
Brought to you by West and Mid Rivers News Magazines and the St. Louis Young Republicans.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL Fenceworks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL, Haunted Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
Join me every Sunday at 10 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight, but right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This song takes me back to my childhood, and it was a kind of an old song then, I think.
Yeah, kind of. I think this is what got me in trouble on Highway 61 driving to Hannibal. I think I had this cranked up.
Because to me, this takes me back to when I was, I want to say junior high or high school in Camp Point, Illinois.
This was late 79 as far as when the album came out.
Right. And this was the song that All-Star Wrestling used for their opening theme.
Oh, okay.
And at least the one that they played out of Quincy, Illinois. Because there was like a national wrestling. And so I always liked to watch, when I was a kid, I would watch wrestling. And this song was the opening to that, which back then they probably didn't pay royalties and they were completely ripping off the intellectual property. But I would record, I recorded this on VHS.
Oh, yeah.
My parents were like, why are you recording wrestling? They knew it was a phase and every boy goes through it.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, in this strict Baptist home and I wasn't allowed to listen to rock and roll. But I love that song. At least if I recorded that, then I could hear the song.
Right.
With, being under the guise of I'm just watching my old wrestling.
It's just the intro to the show.
Mike, what are you doing? I'm just watching wrestling.
That's right. I was like, this is the mid 80s. Yes, yeah, this would have been mid 80s or so that is it WGN or I don't know, one of those stations over there in the tri-state area that would play it on Saturdays.
The GEM?
WGE. It was either WGEM or it was, what was the one over in there was one in Palmyra, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
As well. Or, one of those, they had signals in Iowa and Illinois and Missouri, but they would air that on Saturday afternoons, I think.
And folks may wonder why there's a WGEM in Quincy. It's because there's a college there,
Gem City College,
and that's for jewelry, is it not? Is it? There's a school there.
It's Quincy's nickname is the Gem City.
Gem City.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Gem City.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight, but
he agrees. Joe gets it.
Joe Pags all over it.
But because it's Gem City Community College it's a community college.
Okay,
is all it is. It's not specifically for that, but that's just the nickname of the city. And so I think that was the TV station. It's been forever since I haven't been there. I haven't been in Quincy since like 1989 or something like that. I haven't been there forever. But whenever I hear that song, that's what it takes me back to. Of course, by today, the video graphics are just awful.
Oh gosh, yeah,
horrible.
80s 80s TV shows as well, especially late 70s technology. 80s TV shows, those graphics are just, they look very amateurish now.
Humorous.
It is kind of humorous.
But it's funny because like I had that syndicated TV show named called Missouri Viewpoints. Now, by the time we went off the air after 300 and whatever episodes, high definition 4K, but when we first started that on YouTube, it was just as bad.
Standard is
terrible.
Yeah, had the clip art.
If you find it on YouTube, it's humorous. It's really, really funny.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877